What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the call-in show here on Casually FC. I'm accompanied by the starting panel of Oliver, Scott, and Real Chris. And pardon my tardiness, as Scott said in the background, or in the backstage, it wouldn't be casually if I wasn't late. So we're casually late, or I'm casually late. Big up to everyone. As you guys know, this is the call-in show, so we're going to be discussing some Chelsea stuff. And then 15 to 20 minutes into the show, we'll drop the link down in the description as well as at the top of the chat for you guys to come in, join in, and have your say and discuss Chelsea with us here on the panel. But before we go ahead and continue on with the show, ladies and gents, you know what to do. This is the routine. This is the daily. Make sure to smash up the like button if you haven't done so already. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and be sure to join up on the memberships if you are already subscribed and want to help out the show by becoming a member, being part of the exclusive I Have Antonio Conte Emojis Club, which is, you know, awesome. The more members we get, the more emojis we unlock, the more emojis I can provide for you guys as well, which I have some cool ones even from this season that are in the works that I would like to provide to the community. Will be provided in the Discord soon as well, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, ladies and gents, so I want to talk about, you know, this whole title race discussion and stuff. I know it's been talked about a lot lately, but now that we got the result that we did yesterday against Southampton, and Liverpool got the result that they got yesterday, we are closing in on that gap. It was a 9-point gap. Now it's a 7-point gap from second place to first place. We are currently sitting in second by a goal differential from Arsenal. And now more Chelsea fans are coming out with chess saying that we are in a title race, and we will discuss that. But the first thing I wanted to discuss was something that Scott, our friend here, brought up, which is we have FIFA Club World Cup drawings. And I'll pull up this group right here. So if you guys don't already know, we've informed you here on previous shows that we are involved in the FIFA Club World Cup. It's going to be taking place in the summer after the Chelsea season. I believe it was, 3 weeks after the last game of the season in the USA?
It starts first week of June, I think. Like, it starts just before the transfer window opens. I think it ends, excuse me. Sorry, it starts. It starts on like the 13th or the 14th, so like just before the transfer window in England opens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's gonna be. Oh, here it is. United States between 15th of June. So there you go. Yeah, what Scott said.
I like Iraqs.
So it starts 15th of June, and we're involved in it because we won the Champions League just recently, and this is the group that we got, Group D. We got Flamengo, Espérance Sportive de Tunis, Chelsea, and Club Lyon. Club Lyon, that's not the French Club Lyon, right?
No,
Sounds
that's
like
Mexican.
best point.
Club Lyon is a Mexican team, isn't it?
Club Leon is a Mexican team, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, listen, I think this will be a very good group stage to try out some of our young players, right? Like our Estevals and our Kendrick Paez and
Esteval won't be,
Santos.
none of those
Yeah,
guys will be here by the time that they do.
Really?
Yeah, because it's technically not the end of the season.
Oh, when does their season end then?
Well, no, like the end of the season technically, like contracts start on the 1st of July.
Oh, so
Like,
they
the
won't
likes
be
of
available till later in the tournament.
Yeah, so like Esteval will be playing for Palmeiras in his competition.
But Santos will be able to play at least. We can at least test out Santos tournament play.
No, again, like loan contracts again, and like all contracts when it comes to like loans and stuff like that is
yes, no Sterling. No Sterling.
yeah. So like it's going to be this. It's going to be the same as what it is now. The only difference is that the only difference is if we sign someone. Obviously, the transfer window I think opens like the 15th, so they can technically join us in what's it called in
the tournament.
Yeah, like I don't know how that works. Maybe they can. I don't know, but yeah, in terms of like loan players coming back and whatnot, it's not happening because technically all contracts start on the 1st of July and like reset on the 1st of July, at least for us.
Yeah,
for Europe.
That's a bit of a downer. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, especially against these. No disrespect to any of the teams in this group. It's just outside of Flamengo, I don't expect much difficulty getting top of this group and going on to the latter stages of the Club World Cup.
Oh, we have arguably the easiest group out of any quote unquote big team. We have arguably the easiest group of anyone involved. I mean, I had looked outside of Bayern Munich, and they still have to face Benfica. We're facing a Flamengo team who there's a lot of Chelsea connections, or there's some Chelsea connections in that team, who are third in the Brazil Serie A, and they're 8 points off top. We're facing a Tunis team who are fifth. I'd look, they're fifth in their league, and they're the only Tunisian team I've heard of. And then a Club Leon team who are 11th in the Apertura currently. They're doing really badly. Jesus fucking Christ, they are 24 points off top. They're doing really badly.
Ooh.
The only reason they're in this competition is because they won the CONCACAF Champions League 2 years ago, and since they won that, they've been shit. They've been terrible.
I'm looking at these drawings. I mean, for the most part, it looks like most of these groups are pretty well balanced. I mean, this looks like a tough group right here. City, Juve.
I mean, no, not really.
What do you mean? Oh, in terms of toughness?
City walk through that, no problem.
Well, it depends on
which city you turn up.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
No,
Juventus are shit too. Even in Champions League, they've been shit. They're not getting any wins in Champions League. Where they're in the league, they're not top either.
I think Juve are ahead of City in the Champions League. I ain't gonna lie.
There's no way they're ahead of City in Champions League.
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on.
There's no. I can have a quick.
I'll have a look, so you don't have to look. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
Chris.
but I can look quicker.
Ah, damn, you're not wrong. Okay.
Juventus
so
are 19.
City, yeah.
Oh shit, man.
They're matched
they're
on
both doing bad.
points. I told you. Look at where Real Madrid is. 24th.
Huh?
Real Madrid are
Real
one
Madrid
more. Yeah,
Wait,
one
PSG
more
down
drop
at
of
25th. What the fuck's going on?
Luis Enrique.
Yeah, they're not been good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Chris, stop living under a rock. Drink more water.
Man,
Fuck's sake.
Chelsea should be in the Champions League, man. We'd fucking be on
I know.
top 6 or something, I reckon. Top 8 at least.
It is what it is, but I mean, this is an interesting. Palmeiras is where Santos is, right?
Nope.
Ah, fuck. Where is Santos? Is Santos?
Santos is
No.
in Strasbourg. You're talking about Estevao.
Ah, shit. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that might be true, Curry. Yeah, you might be right now.
So yeah, Estevao is in Palmeiras. So we will see Estevao, just not for Chelsea. And then we'll see Aaron El Salmino in Boca Juniors. Think as far as Chelsea talent, I think that's really it. And then we have. Do we have any loanees in any of these clubs?
I don't think so. Not Benfica, not Boca, none
I
of
don't think so either. No, for the most part, yeah. It's just those two clubs to keep an eye on.
The
It'll be
way
an
we-
interesting tournament.
I wonder how far Chelsea get, because I'm not scared of Real Madrid, I'll be real.
I think we at least get, because it's going to be around the 16, I'm assuming, and
Where's
then a
Barcelona?
quarterfinal.
No, they're
Barcelona are not.
Okay, that's good. Honestly, that is good, because I'd rather face Real Madrid, I'll be real. They don't play as a team.
Sure.
I know it's
Yeah, at the
match
moment.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's at the moment, because it's 6 months away or something, so...
Mhm.
I mean, time will tell, but Chelsea are looking good this season. That's the good thing. So we're getting ready for it.
We should be able to at least make it to the quarterfinals, in my opinion.
It's gonna be a good watch.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of the drawing, Chris?
I'm actually looking forward to it because there's a few good teams, name-wise. There's still that. I just said I'm not that scared of Real Madrid, but Real Madrid and Chelsea would be a good game if we ever meet. Man City, Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, I'm just mainly looking at European teams like Flamengo and all that. They could obviously, have some good games in there, obviously. But I'm curious how this ends because it's like a Champions League, but more of just a World Cup because you got Brazilian teams and everything in there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Chelsea are playing good, so I'm more than looking forward to it. If this is Chelsea 2 seasons ago or seasons ago, I'm not looking forward to it.
You want me
Okay.
to go away, Mark? Marshall, you can leave it, bro.
Oh, I don't think he can actually talk. I think he's got a cool scar.
Oh. I was gonna say,
yeah.
well, I can say, like I mentioned it earlier. With Flamengo, there are a couple of there are some Chelsea links. They obviously have David Luiz still in their squad.
Wait, David Luiz still playing?
Oh yeah.
He's in
Sorry,
the squad.
guys.
And,
Work.
no,
Sorry,
worries.
go ahead.
Yeah, they have David Luiz in their team. I don't know if he'll. I know he still will be there, obviously, because contracts haven't finished. Actually, no, he might not be there. David Luiz depends on if they renew his. I don't know when his contract ends, but yeah, obviously their season finishes in like soon. So he may not be there. Depends if they renew his contract. And then, yeah, as Curry Pirate mentioned, Felipe Luiz is their manager, and he's actually doing pretty well. To be fair, they won in his first game. They won the Brazilian Cup. So
wait, Felipe Luiz.
is in left back. So, yeah, he used to play for us in Athletic.
Wait, he's the manager now.
You know what I just
Yeah,
realized?
he's literally his
How old is he?
Oh, he's like 30, late 30s, I think. He in his first game, he won the Copa do Brasil, the Brazilian Cup in his first game.
I haven't seen David Luiz lately, but I think he has a beard. That's all I know because that's all. Looks like old.
I don't think he does anymore, but he did have one at one
Yeah,
point.
I've never seen a FIFA card or something. He had a beard or something.
I just realized Fluminense is in this tournament, which means we're going to see Thiago Silva if he's not retired by then.
Ooh, I'd love to see. I would love to see Thiago again.
All right. So, by the way, they're like this. The Flamengo team have some like other players that people know. Like they've got Alexandra in their team as well. They got they got Sandra. They got I don't know if people will remember Gabriel Barbosa, the guy that was tearing up.
Oh yeah,
tearing up Brazil. Went to Inter Milan and did nothing.
Long forgotten.
What else they got a few other players I recognise, but I don't know if anyone else.
They had Marcelo, but Marcelo got his contract ripped up.
That's Fluminense, wrong team.
No, Fluminense. Yeah, but I thought you were talking about Fluminense, but I was referring with Fluminense. Marcelo was there, and he did some bullshit where he got in a bit of a mix up with the coach and got his contract ripped up. So he's a free agent.
Yeah, Fluminense is a mess though.
Yeah, I bet.
They're 17th in the Brazilian league.
Can I ask a question? Is it just South American clubs versus European clubs?
No, it's probably
this is all over the.
So it's a Chinese club, and I think like.
No, so basically, Chris, to qualify, how this works, to qualify for this tournament, you have to win, or you basically have to win your version of the Champions League, whether that be the Asian Champions League, European Champions League, UEFA Champions League, CONCACAF Champions League.
And your continents, basically.
Yeah, I don't know what Auckland City have to win, if it's the Oceanic or whatever.
Wait, which is the Asian Champions League then?
So the winners of the Asian Champions League, I don't know who won it, but off the top of my head without looking, but you've got teams like Al Hilal, obviously Saudi Arabia, Wydad is Moroccan, Al Ain, I think is UAE. I think Al Ain is UAE, Al Ali is Egyptian. Who else? Obviously Tunis is Tunisia. As Curry Pirate says, Ulsan and Ura Red Diamonds are both Korean.
Okay.
Which I think is Ura Red Diamonds Korean or the Japanese? One of the two.
This has got to be going up there as a big trophy now, right? As well.
Yeah, I would say. I
think I'm going to rate this. Not as high as obviously still the Champions League, because Champions League is the biggest one to me, but I would rate it. I think top three. I don't see why I wouldn't. Like Premier League, Champions League, then this.
I'm gonna see if I can find where each club is from in terms of.
If you go up, I can tell you. Keep going. Go back up.
Is it in here?
No. It's go back up. Go back up to the top.
Oh, to the top. Okay, sorry.
Underneath where it says Club World Cup on the right, you see where it says that there's a little link to 2025. On the right. Down a bit. Underneath it. Keep going down. Keep going down. Down a little bit more.
Here?
Honestly. One more.
Right here.
That one, there you go.
It's just said bottom to him.
I did say it either. If I said bottom, you just scroll to the bottom. Keep going down. Down a bit more. Down a bit more. There you go.
Here we go. Okay, so AFC is the Asian Football Confederation.
Yeah, so that's the Asian Champions League, basically.
See, so we got a South Korean team.
Fair play to South Koreans.
Is
Yeah,
this
it's
Pakistan?
basically
I don't know what flag that is. I'm
That's
sorry.
UAE.
UAE, okay. Japan, and then this is Saudi.
And China must not like all the money they spent over the years.
Bro, the Chinese team suck.
I saw Oscar's stats
Egyptian.
The other day, man. He's
What
got
is
some
this?
mad stats in the
That's
Chinese
like
league.
African.
African.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, so it is from every nation. Okay.
Yeah, so you basically have to win the Champions League or have some sort of standing in terms of like within
Alright, let me
your
make this bigger, guys.
within your confederation. So for example, I'm trying to think of an example. I'll give you an example, right? So like the reason Arsenal aren't in this isn't me throwing shots, it's just the first example came to mind. The reason Arsenal aren't in this is because their coefficient ranking is shit because they've never won anything in Europe. It's not even me trying to throw shots, it was the first team that came.
It's true though.
That's
Yeah,
why,
it's
for
not one
example,
Champions
I
League
think
last
if you go down a little bit more, it's why I think Salzburg are in here as well. If you go to the European like group, I think that's why Salzburg are here is because of ranking. Yeah,
I
UEFA
thought it's just the
4-year
two
ranking.
last Champions
Okay.
League winners, though. That's why Man City.
Oh, you know it
Chelsea-
is like it is winners, but then it's also like as you can see, a bunch of teams are based on ranking, which is based on if they've won stuff, how far they've gone in competitions. Because I think as well, that's why Barcelona aren't here, is because I think they would have been here if they won the Europa League, they would have got here ahead of Atletico Madrid, but then they got knocked out. So then Salzburg got in instead because you can only have a certain amount of teams from every country.
It's crazy, man. It's going to be really interesting competition. I'm looking forward to seeing this format. I'm not going to lie. Because, like, you know, you guys remember the old format was kind of a throwaway format. It wasn't a throwaway format, but it wasn't, like, as entertaining or as, like, organized as this seems to be, where okay, now we're gonna have groups, we're gonna make it a whole tournament, not just like semifinals and then the finals, right? Which it seemed to be every year. Whenever we won the Champions League or any other team in Europe won a Champions League, they get to semifinal. Where the last time we were in this tournament, we faced was it Al Hilal?
No, we've not
I think
faced
it was
Al Hilal.
Who did we face?
No.
What,
We
the last
faced-
time we were in this competition?
Yeah, we faced Al Hilal, and then we faced Palmeiras. Who did we face before?
we
My
did
god,
face Al
this is
Hilal.
killing.
No, we did. No,
Right?
you're right. Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
right.
so it was Al Hilal, the team in blue as well, and then we faced Palmeiras in the
Oh
final.
yeah, no, yeah, because we faced this was just before like the big influx of like talent from Saudi. So I think we faced an Al Hilal that like didn't have that many.
Still had some stars though. Not
Still had some
like
stars,
not
but
like
didn't have
right
like,
now.
Neymar-
but,
I don't think Neymar was there, for example.
Yeah, Neymar wasn't there. Neymar wasn't there.
When Chelsea win the Premier League, right? This is when the competition starts.
Wait, what?
I said I can't say it again.
No, I think I heard you correctly. I just want to confirm, because I mean that transitions us into our next topic. Say that one more time.
When Chelsea win the Premier League, does the tournament start then?
That's a good question, Chris. That's the thing. We're 7 points away from the top. Liverpool have dropped points against Newcastle. They could potentially drop points further into these next few fixtures. You never know. Who's their next tough match? Actually, let me look this up. Liverpool FC. What is your fixture?
Liverpool's
like?
fixture. I ain't really looked at this.
I don't think it's as easy as ours, but you never know. So they have their next one is Everton at Everton, which could be a banana slip. You never know.
I mean, I
It's
think
not
Liverpool
going to
win
be,
that
but
game.
it could be. Because it is a derby.
If Liverpool slip up again, then there's gonna be blood to be smelled from Arsenal and Chelsea.
Listen, not that this matters, but they have Konate's out with injury for the next month, I believe. If they were to lose a Gravenberch, I think that destabilizes the midfield a lot. I know Curtis Jones has stepped up. I know McAllister hasn't been in the best form, but we know he's capable of. They have some depth, but not as good as ours. I guess, Chris, I'll start with you, man. Where do you think Chelsea are right now? Do you think we're in the title race? Do you think there's a fair shot?
We're just I want to see where Chelsea are after the 8 games we still got ahead of us. I think we had 3 games done, knocked them out pretty comfortable. Yes, I know, CP. I'll stay quiet on the winning league now, but yeah. Obviously Chelsea are playing really good, but I have to see more on this. And yeah, like I can't like throw Chelsea in saying they're gonna win the league right now. I can't throw it because we have still a lot of issues in this team. Not a lot, but we have a couple of issues. One of them is mainly Sanchez, and I just don't believe Sanchez holding the Premier League title. I can't see it, but who knows at this point? But yeah, I mean Chelsea playing good. I think we just gotta focus on ourselves and game by game. To be honest, I know a lot of rivals like Arsenal and Liverpool fans are saying, "Oh, Chelsea's in the title race because they're ahead of Arsenal and all that," but that's just because we've had a great start to the Premier League, I think. And Man City's been quite poor. Like they're down at 5th now. Like City's had like a 7 game without winning. Before they just had their win, by the way. They've obviously got a win now, but yeah. So I think we just took our opportunities, like taking over City and even Arsenal at this point, because they've lost this, but. I know, just game by game. I don't really want to say Chelsea win the league yet. It's too soon.
Oliver. Wow. Oliver.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome back to the channel, first of all. But also, where do you stand on this? Because I haven't heard your take on this whole thing. I mean, are you still reserved about it, or do you want to stand out from the rest and maybe have some chest on this and say we are in the title race?
I hate to be boring, but it's pretty much what Chris said, and I can go into a bit more detail than just.
I'm just kidding.
I can go into a bit more detail than just Robert Sanchez being a problem in goal. I think the right back situation could be a problem. Like James can't stay fit, and Gusto hasn't been good. So at this point, you're kind of wanting Caicedo to play there, but he's then your best midfielder. So can that work? And the Villa game suggested it can, but we'll have to wait and see if that happens more. And obviously Fofana being out, granted that's only a few weeks, but still, you could potentially do better there with like having him in the team. Depends how bad Yashile plays when he'll come in, obviously. It's just too soon to say, I think. Honestly, and there's definitely potential there. We are the top scoring team in the league with only just having played the promoted teams. So, it's good to be in that conversation for now, but I think, it's a bit too soon for me personally, but it's good where we are. I'm very happy with it.
I guess the reason this conversation is being brought up again, because before it was 9 points. Now it's 7 points. And listen, say what you want about Spurs. We have a really good record against them. So don't believe what Marlon, big up Marlon, but don't believe what Marlon is telling you here. I do believe we're going to beat them. Deji coming out saying that they big teams. The only big team they've beaten this season has really been Man City. They haven't. United if you want to count them, but
maybe United. Didn't they? Yeah, we're
not really counting United.
They beat Ten Hag United.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, anyone was beating them at that point.
Yeah, right. But
I mean, Spurs will definitely give us a good game. I don't think it's gonna be as easy as maybe some others think. I can't see it being that easy. I think they're gonna give us a run for our money, but I think we'll win anyway. And I think Spurs are like a lot of Spurs fans are actually pretty. They don't want to face us. They're pretty scared. Might say I haven't kept a close eye on Tottenham, but they're down at 10th, I think, now, since they just lost 1-0. We did lose to Bournemouth.
Yeah, just lost to Bournemouth.
Yeah, they're just being a weird team as per usual. They'll beat City and then lose to Ipswich.
Yeah.
I think Ange might get sacked as well this season if they just keep getting worse and worse. And Ange will be freed from that shithole of a club because they think they're better than they are. They're not.
By the way, ladies and gents, if you do want to call in, the link is below as well as pinned to the top of the chat. So come in and have your say. Obviously, if you don't want to talk about the title race, you can talk about it. You can ask us questions. You can talk about whatever you want. You're free to talk about whatever you want. But we are talking about where we are currently on the table. And by the way, almost 40 of you watching, and there's not enough likes. Listen, wipe your feet at the door. Smash those likes if you haven't done so already. I really do appreciate it, and it helps us out tremendously. Scott, I mean, listen, I think for me, part of the reason is 7 points, right? We're closing the gap. The other part of the reason for me is the fact that of all people, Winter Surfer was the one coming out last night saying we are in the title race. This man is now leading the charge after our Southampton game, which fair enough. I mean, we played really well, and Southampton aren't, really. Yeah, they are kind of the whipping boys of the Premier League this season. However, they have given Arsenal and City and all these other teams a good game.
I should ask them a question actually.
Well, yeah, if he shows up, you can ask him a question. But I'm gonna ask Scott. Now, 7 points instead of the 9. We're closer to. I believe we're closer to the top than we are to the bottom now of the league.
Definitely, yeah. They
Liverpool
got
could
points.
drop points. Who knows? But I mean, do you think we're in the title race?
No, at least not right now. I'm gonna keep my energy the same as I had it before in terms of like get me to January, and then we'll have that conversation, because we haven't gone through this run yet. I still think we should be winning most of the games we have in this run, but ultimately this is going to be the toughest run we go through this season. Not necessarily because the level of play, the level of competition we have, more because of how many games we've got in such a short period of time. And I think one thing we've yet to see this season, really, is the full squad be tested to a level of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of competence, for lack of a better term. Like, we still haven't really seen anything of note from Nkunku. We haven't really seen anything of note from the likes of Tosin or Disasi, even though I thought Disasi was decent against Southampton. We haven't really seen anything all season of Gusto, who should be the B team right back. Like, there's many of the once you go past the first 11, there's many of the other squad players that are still unknowns ultimately. And so it's going to be a massive test coming up as to whether they can handle, the minutes they're going to get. And right now, I don't think there is a title race. I think the title currently is Liverpool's to lose.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're the best team in this league this season, and it's not even close. They've got arguably the best player in this league this season.
Mo Salah.
Best defender too. Best keeper when he's fit.
Potentially, defender and keeper, but like you'd have to like go and look at other players. I'd have to go and watch that. Like, as much as I haven't rated him in terms of his stature over like multiple seasons, Mo Salah's been the best player in this league this season, and it's not close. So yeah, and like I think that right now it's theirs to lose. And as I said, once we get to January and we see who we're linked with, and we see who we get in, because I think that will change a lot of things as well. Like if we get to January and we're still within, let's say we're within about 6 points, and we go out and sign someone big, cool. That shows me we're in a title race. That shows me that we're in a title race.
What would the big signing be? I'm assuming
I don't know, like not necessarily like anyone, right? Like as much as I don't want either of them, if this club was to turn around and drop the release clause for Gyökeres in January, that would tell me that they think we're in a title race. That's a big signing. As much as I don't think that's the right signing to make, that would be a big enough signing to be like the core. That shows me these owners think we're in a title race, and that's kind of what I'm waiting for.
I see what you're saying. It's one of those like the actions speak louder than the words. Even though the actions look a little misdirected, it shows like, oh, we're going to try to win, so that we're going to sign this big player who's going to.
If we get to January and they go and sign that Araujo kid, that's not a guy you sign if you're in a title race. Sorry, that's not a guy you sign if you're in a title race to go and help you win a title.
Yeah, Curry Pirate here.
I mean,
if they get me Danish Mandili, then we're in the title.
Give me him back. Yeah, we have right next to Colwell or keeper, because if we sign like a top keeper right in, I don't know, Martinez, Costa or Coble or something like that. I think we're
Jesus Christ
at that point.
Wait, so hold on. Based on this logic, okay, let me just read this whole comment before I actually comment back. We can't be in a title race when there are whispers of a point deduction. Let's get UCL football and win the Conference League. I am happy. A deep run in the FA Cup would be a bonus. I agree with that, but based on your logic, though, if we can't be in a title race because of points deduction, then Man City were never in a title race.
Yeah, they're near relegation at this point.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, listen, I haven't heard a
I don't know what's
whisper or a wink of, well, apparently the Man City charges are going to be postponed until the following summer.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. I haven't confirmed it through a media outlet, but I heard it through socials and videos that apparently that's the case.
I do think, Marshall, I said this from the start of the season, we will get comfortable top 4. I think I said we'd get top 3, I think, and like be 7 points away from top of the table, because I do believe Chelsea have the best depth and squad wise in the league. I look at City, they're falling apart. Liverpool doesn't have the strongest depth. Arsenal doesn't. Man United don't. Tottenham definitely don't. So it's just the one thing with this team, they're all like 23 or under, most of them. So you know, it takes a bit of gelling and experience to get to that league. It's looking very good for Chelsea, regardless, because this season it's like our build-up, and next season that's when we go for the league. I think for sure. That's when we become more serious into it.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with the first caller we have here, CFC for Life, returning caller. Big up to you, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for coming on. What are your thoughts, man? What are you feeling? Whether it be the Club World Cup, whether it be, you know, title race, or maybe something you have in mind?
Big up, everybody. Can you hear me correctly?
Yeah. You sound good, man.
Okay. Yeah, with the title race, I'm just gonna be a bit cautious right now because I'm still trying to find out like about us and what we're about, because obviously the manager's new, and obviously we've got a lot of young players that have not actually gone through a title race like this before. So I'm kind of just sort of taking one step at a time, and I feel like we just don't have enough game changers, like as in like a Mohamed Salah. We've got Cole Palmer, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we've got a guy that could just do what Mohamed Salah does and just score against all the big teams or even assists. Whereas, like, if we can start proving that when we play the big teams like Arsenal and City and Liverpool, because we still haven't beat them in like many years, even though we get a few draws. But yeah, I feel like Chelsea have to kind of show me that they're capable of doing that. So if we get to game week 2025 and we're still in the mix, then I've got no choice but to say, okay, we're in a title race. But I'm not really going to jump the gun at the moment and say, oh, we can do it or we can't, because I'm still learning about us. So I'm just a bit more cautious and just taking my time, because I've seen a title race before and I've seen us win multiple.
Yeah, most of us have.
Yeah, so I know what it's like, and I remember when we've done it back in the day when, let's say, when we first won under Mourinho. I remember we went to Old Trafford and I think we beat them 1-0 or 2-0, and it's like beating the big teams. Obviously, you don't always have to beat the big teams to win the league, but I just know where we're at, and if we start doing that and taking points off of them, then I can be like more comfortable. But my target was always top 4, and obviously, if we overachieve, I'm going to be happy. So if I'm wrong with my prediction, it's only going to be a benefit for us because I thought top 4. But if we obviously go on to win the league, then of course. But yeah, I've seen like Winter Surfer and these other people say we're going to win the league, which is fine. That's their opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just going to wait and see like what else we can do, because we can. Who's to say we don't have bad form? Because everyone's saying, oh, we're going to win and we're going to win. But what if we actually go for a bad patch? I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just saying what if, because everyone always makes out that, oh, we're just going to win the next game and the next game and the next game. But we could have maybe a sticky patch and then, you know, we stick down the table, because Arsenal are on the same points as us, and Man City, obviously they've had a bit of their bad form, but who's to say they don't go on a 10, 12, 13 game win and run. And then, you know, we have a couple draws and then they, you know, get past us. So, yeah, I'm just kind of taking my time with sort of talking about a title race. But obviously, if we're still there in a couple of months, then, yeah, I've got no choice but to say we're in it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I kind of am curious, and I'm curious what the rest of the panel think. Like, where in, because I feel like a bad patch doesn't just come out of nowhere. I feel like a bad patch comes from, like, for example, with Man City right now, they're in a bad patch of form, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they lost Rodri, right? So that, spiraled into a bad patch of form. On top of that, not having a fit KDB, Philip Walter Foden having very, very shit season in terms of like where he should be at, continuing bad form from last season. He got benched the last game, midweek game. But I feel like City are going to turn it around at some point. It's Pep Guardiola. It's not, some random bum. Where do you guys think a bad patch of form could come from in this Chelsea team if it were to occur?
Wait, did you say where?
Where do you think a bad patch of form could come from if it were to happen for this Chelsea team?
I think it's just injuries at this point. Like, if we lose like a Cole Palmer, a Jackson. If we lost a Jackson, I don't know if Nkunku will fill in the role what a Jackson would at strike. I do rate, you know how much I rate Nkunku. I love Nkunku, but I don't know if he can do a Jackson. And Jackson's been unreal this season, I think, anyway. But I don't know. Say we lost even the Cole. I think it's, if we lose any of our key players, that's where we're gonna like struggle. I mean, we lost Fofana, but to me, he's not a key player. I still think he's somewhat important to this team, but he's not like that big key player to me. So
there's one guy that stands out to me.
Oh god, we lost Caicedo. I don't want to.
Caicedo, yes.
I don't want to think about that one. This guy can do everything.
He can. I feel like Caicedo. Listen, Caicedo definitely is a big boost to the side. I'm not going to deny that. But I feel like if we were to lose a Caicedo, we can still rely on. Well, it depends on how long we lose a Caicedo, but we can still rely like on Lavia to do at least a DM portion of the job. I mean, I feel like a pivot of. Not that I prefer it, but I feel like a pivot of Enzo and Caicedo, not Caicedo, Enzo and Lavia is balanced enough that it could work.
It could. It's just I don't know. Just losing Caicedo. It's just I know that's the thing with Chelsea's midfield. We have good depth in our midfield. I think I do rate our midfield because those three are pretty like amazing to have. But yeah, I don't know. Losing Caicedo. Also, it's like the manager as well. I think the manager could make mistakes in this season. He isn't like he's not experienced in the Premier League, as far as I'm aware. He hasn't made to me really any mistakes yet, and it could happen. And I kind of expect that sometimes to happen. So yeah, like it just may not be like that perfect.
JP, just to give you a little bit, and before you go, CFC, just to give you a little bit of context, as much as we didn't look convincing defensively early on in the season, we still won games without Lavia and having the pivot of Caicedo and Enzo. And I would sit here and argue with you that Lavia is the only player in this team. Caicedo can do it too, but Lavia is probably the only player in this team that can play a single pivot. He is like defensively really well-rounded.
He wouldn't want to do it though. He might injure himself.
Maybe not. But seriously, you were gonna say something, and Dark, I got you, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say basically we still got to visit Man City, go to their ground.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we've won there. And that's always difficult for us. That could be. Hopefully we change the outcome of that, because when we normally go there, it's normally difficult. I think we still got to go to the Emirates. I can't even remember the last time we've won there. And then obviously I feel like if we lose Jackson, have we got someone else that can come in up front? And Nkunku, yeah, but he's not the same like Jackson. So maybe if we lose him, and then as you said, Cole Palmer, that's a big miss as well. And then I think maybe centre backs, but I'm not really our centre backs are good, but I'm just not too sure if our centre backs can hold it up, because we've lost Fofana, so now we've got probably put Badiashile in there. So I'm not too sure how he's going to be with Levi Colwill, but that'll be kind of interesting to see in the next few games if we'll still have that sort of decent defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all fine and dandy to think about these things and the injuries. They could happen. We've been lucky that it hasn't happened yet too much in terms of injuries, knock on wood. However, I do think it's good to consider the fact that other teams also have injuries to go. And I was just looking at, I want to point something out. People say that Liverpool don't have that much depth, and compared to us, they don't. However, they have some pretty decent depth. Like, you know, you have Joe Gomez filling in for Konate right now. Andy Robertson and Simicast, they kind of intertwine. You got Trent. Jarrell Kwanzaa, who is good enough. We've seen he can step up. And Connor Bradley, who just put like Mbappe in a spliff last game. Harvey Elliott is a decent player. Curtis Jones has had a good season. Endo, it's yet to be seen. Gravenberch stepped up. I don't know who this Tyler Morton kid is, so he's probably one of those that I don't really count as depth. And then we already know that offensively they have players there. It's just we don't know how good or consistent they can be. But there is a little bit of depth, so even if they do lose Gravenberch, I think Gravenberch is the key to that whole midfield. If they do lose that, who knows if they'll remain the same. But I mean, I'll pass it along to Dark, my man. Welcome back to the show. Big supporter of the channel, longtime friend of the channel, longtime friend of mine. We went to see the Chelsea game in the summer, or last summer. We're gonna go see more, hopefully. Best friends, best of friends. Friendship, yeah. Wow, hold on, friendship.
Yeah, they won't get us.
But Dark, talk to me, broski. How you feeling? Do you have chest? Are you still reserved?
I'm feeling good.
We were watching the game yesterday,
slightly
man. We
more
felt good about
chest than
that.
last time. Yeah, slightly more chest. You know, disappointed in my boy Zhao. He's not my boy no more. I can't even say that.
You know, loyal.
What happened, bro?
You've seen the light.
Yeah, I've seen the light. Yeah.
Thank the Lord Jesus Christ.
JC,
That
the
is
link
crazy.
is open for
No
anyone. You can
loyalty
hop on
in
whenever,
Dar.
guys.
No loyalty.
But
Oh, no, shit, that's what happened.
I think
You ain't
we're
got
a
a team
couple of
loyalty.
positions away from a true title challenge, really and truly. I think we're just here kind of by circumstance. Like everyone else is kind of falling off, and we're just holding a good steady pace.
Mhm.
And we're just, you know, taking each game by game, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
mean,
Still a little early.
I think at the end of the day, right? Because everyone, this is something that rivals like to do, is they like to say that, oh, you wouldn't be where you
Gaslighting.
are if it wasn't for, you know, the other team not being so shit and all. Like at the end of the day, like, bro, we have to play the games that are ahead of us. And also CFC for life. I'm just gonna mute you just because you got there's a little bit of an echo going in there. At the end of the day, like for example, anyone trying to discredit Liverpool and how they're playing, like, oh, Liverpool would have lost if Arsenal were at their best, and they didn't play a good Real Madrid side, so on and so forth, this and that. Oh, Man City weren't. Like, listen, at the end of the day, the table is the table. You gotta get there by any means necessary. If Liverpool were to win the league this season, it's not like the pandemic season where you can say, okay, it's a farce because no one had fans, and fans is the 12th man on the pitch and all this and that. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, the only reason you won the league is because everyone else was shit. Well, that's their problem. So if Chelsea were to go on a title run, if Chelsea were to actually be in this title race, and if Chelsea were to actually win the thing, which is possible, ladies and gents, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not possible. It's unlikely, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's not possible. I'm just saying that everyone else being shit ain't my problem. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, we aren't playing well. We are playing well. We're playing the way we're supposed to be playing. So, listen, with all this title talk and shit, people are probably going to downplay it as well. People are trying to set us up to fail, which I understand. Rivals are going to rival, right? But at the end of the day, we're in second place because we're a good team. We've always been a good team. We should have been in this discussion last season. Is that too far-fetched to say, Dark?
Yeah, shoulda, but we had a shit manager, so
I am not a clown.
Speak on it, man. We did have a shit manager.
and I
Yeah.
think that's the lot of the manager. A lot of us don't know, like a lot of us still don't want to fully give him all of our faith just yet. I think, but I think he's proven to us that he's a good enough coach.
Yeah, and one thing I did like is that yesterday you guys finally heard it. The Chelsea fans, the away end, finally singing the manager's song and praise and dance. And hey, listen, I remember the first game of the season when people were singing for Conor Gallagher and all this and that. Not a pipe now. These guys overreactionary. Well, to an extent, I understand where it was coming from.
Mr.
Obviously,
Roy Jennings.
yeah, I understand where it was coming from, but at the same time, like, hey, listen, we are where we are now. We're now in these discussions for a title race, and we have AK4 Pete here, hoping that he can do a 5 Pete, but it's not looking very good now, is it? Talk to me, AK4 Pete. What's going on, man? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the call-in show. Thank you for coming on. Talk to me. You there, 4 Pete? Oh, never mind. Okay, hold on. He messaged in the background saying he'll be right back. All right, JC, what's going on, brother? Talk to me, my man. Defend Robert Sanchez like you want to defend him.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
kidding.
I just
No,
don't
talk
want
what you want to talk, bro.
Not again, man. Not again.
How you doing,
Look,
man? How
we
you
are not
feeling
in a
about
right
this
discussion.
discussion?
No, I'm just saying that we shouldn't be putting expectations reviewing the expectations just right now. I mean, there are 2-3 points which push me in that direction. First of all, like if you look at our points, we are averaging two points per game.
Okay.
So if we maintain this, we will be around 75 points. That's position third or fourth. So moving forward, as we will play better and better, the teams will start to sit back, and that really not plays into our style of play. Like we like to hit on the transition. So if we will have to break up low blocks, it might be another phase. A lot of new things. So trying to have expectations might temper with the development. And finally, I think Maresca is going in stages. Like initially, we were like trying to invert right back, like one direction only. Then we had Gusto overlapping. Then we had like Kukureya started doing that. Then we had the Villa game where the team was more or less settled, but then the both were alternating by inverting. Then we have now like more and more teams which used to be called A team, B team. They are all mixing up. And as we enter January, like there will be a new squad for the this European competition where we are in, and probably they will list Palmer in that also. So it's a progression, and the more I see this, we are gradually starting to resemble in a style of play which is going to be somewhat similar to City, I would say. A lot of possession, playing against a lot of low blocks, and Maresca is going pragmatic against tougher opponents, then going hung ho against like Southampton, like only two center backs. Let's go attack, let's enjoy, and so it's like a lot of experimentation still. And I don't think he's taking it so seriously. Like I have to win every game and all that stuff. He is right now focused more on trying different things, trying integrating the team, integrating the players, bringing the whole squad, building a squad. So this year he has been saying that he's building the squad. At the same time, had he lost those games against where he was pragmatic, it would have been setback, and he would have been on defense. But since he still managed to pull out draws, and like even the defeats were not that big defeats, and we still picked up points against the other teams, he's in a good position right now. But this position is looking good because the other teams are underperforming. Like City has underperformed, Arsenal has underperformed because of injuries or whatever you call them, because their key players had been missing. But that does not
Hmm.
mean that we achieving 75 points at this average will be anywhere near the winners. We have not had a run of like 5, 7, 10 games of victories for so many years. And any team who wins the Premier League has to go on a run. So it's early days for me. It's early days, and by raising the expectations, like we only will develop like more pressures, and it might affect like plans, like how we plan. Maresca is trying to play, so I think we should enjoy this time with a little bit of sarcasm and like having fun banter. Like we were supposed to be like 12th place, some were predicting 7th place to 12th place, and we are like second. So let's have fun. Enjoy it.
No, I appreciate the perspective of like, let's just enjoy where we are and stuff. But something I disagreed with what you said is how Maresca sees this. I mean, I think to an extent, I think Maresca does want to experiment, right? And we saw that early days where he was experimenting with certain players in certain positions and so on and so forth. And me and Scott talked about this. I mean, all of us on the panel talked about this. He doesn't change information; he just changed the staff. But one thing I'll say is that I don't think he's experimenting anymore. I think I want to say ever since the Newcastle game, the one where we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup, I think he's established his spine of players that are going to start no matter what, and depending on the opposition and the strengths of the players that we have, because let's be honest, some of our players have more strengths in certain categories and certain abilities than other players, right? Like we saw, for example, yeah, I think so. You saw, for example, yesterday how with Nkunku, for him, he's not like a pressing machine, right? Like he will press and he'll put pressure, but he mostly is about making the runs and the runs to find him, which I don't think the team has really figured
Yeah,
out
the
yet.
real reason why I considered the goal actually. Yeah.
I think that's Enzo mostly, not Nkunku. But
Yeah, if the press does not give time, then the Southampton cannot exploit the spaces which the fullbacks leave behind.
are you
They
talking
just
about
have to put the
Nkunku?
ball to the spaces, and if there is no press, then the defense breaks down.
Maybe that's one way to look at it. I wouldn't put that on Nkunku, but I think what I'm trying to get at is that like versus like a Jackson, which the reason Jackson start is because he makes the glue for the whole attack just kind of more mesh more. The chemistry starts to work out a little more. So there's that with him, but I think that's where I disagree with you. I think Maresca. I think Maresca is taking this seriously. I don't think Maresca likes to lose. So that's why he has his spine, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I don't think he's experiment. I mean, do you guys agree? Like panel, like
Okay, let me add to that. Last 4 games or 5 games after the Arsenal draw, he was pragmatic. Against the Villa, he had very specific setup where he brought in all the 3 midfielders. And yesterday's game, he had both, like he had 2 centre backs, mostly almost like a square of 4 players at the back, the 2 midfielders and 2 centre backs, and everybody bombing forward. So these are all different types, different setups, totally different setups. But anyway, I think there will be clues. And for me, the important clues will be like the next game, which is a little bit more serious team. So if he goes again pragmatic a little bit, then I think he is still like taking it like, okay, I should not lose, but like we are not in the title. Like we don't really need to win it at any cost. So that means if he's pragmatic, so he is not into that position, like thinking like I have to catch up those 7 points. And after that, only unfortunately, we have like next tough game is on 25th of this January. And if he wins everything, which probably does not happen because he will lose some games, obviously. But if he can maintain until that time all the victories, then we have quite tough run in also. So the real clue will be for me will be the next game. Like in a sense, like if he goes again, like okay, go win. We have to win, and we playing very well. And it might be a situation where his setup is not pragmatic. Then maybe he's going for the victories. But I think he still himself is saying is no, we are not in the title race. We are ahead of our development. But like okay, now like let others say. I mean, what do you think? That's my opinion. So that I thought like the clues which I see is like this. Like he himself has very justified his argument. Like we are not ready.
CFC for life. I feel like you wanted to say something there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was basically gonna kind of agree with what you said. I think he sets up basically for the team he's playing. So he looks at the strengths and then he looks at the weaknesses and then he kind of adjusts to who he's playing. So if he thinks that we're going to get outnumbered in the midfield, he may then go with like a Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo kind of thing. Because we did that against Man City in the start of the season. We played all three of them. So I kind of think he just kind of sets up to whoever he's playing against, which is very tactical. So I kind of like that side of him where he's going to have his favourites, obviously, but at the same time, he's not going to just be that biased, and he looks at other sort of our strengths and how we can hurt the other team. So I think he's playing it right now, and I like what he says in the press conference where he doesn't get carried away. He's not getting carried away saying, "Yeah, we're in the title race." He's sensible. He's not stupid. He obviously knows, like, come on, like a title race, you're gonna have to win 30. It's 38 games, so you have to play. So let's not get too carried away now. Yeah, we're on good form, but who knows? That form may last, or it might not. So I like how he's being very cautious with it. It's not. And then I see Chelsea fans saying, "Oh, have some chest," or they're not having chest. But you can have chest and then be looking silly at the end of the season. We could say, yeah, we're in a title race, and then 20 games in, 25 games in, we're not. So it doesn't really matter. Like, obviously, if you think if you think we're in a title race, that's cool. But there's no problem with like other fans not thinking we are. So for me, it's like, yeah, like we have different types of fans that are thinking different things, and some get carried away really too soon, and then you get the ones that are not too sure that sit on the fence. But for me, it's like each to their own. Everyone can make their own opinion. So it's a bit of a funny one to see where we're going to sort of end up, because nobody really knows, and we're still learning a lot about Maresca. And Maresca said himself he's still learning about the players. He doesn't really know the players yet, and he keeps saying they've got a lot to learn, which is true. They're still young players. They haven't won. They've never been in this position before. They don't know. We don't know if they can handle this pressure. So maybe they can, and they will shock me if they actually go all the way, and I'll be happy. Like, this team's ready. But yeah, for me, it's a bit early, and yeah, I'm just going to be patient and wait and see how we get on.
Fair enough. JC, you wanted to make one other point?
Yeah.
And then I do want to hear from Master, who's been waiting patiently. Thank you, Master.
Yeah. See, like Maresca has played under Ancelotti or he's friends with him. But I read somewhere like Ancelotti in the preseason told him like move the back line 10 yards further or behind and have fun because you have a great team or something like that. So here's my thing. I was thinking like this guy is the closest hack we could have, like a tactical genius like Ancelotti, you know. I mean, if he starts wearing a wig and he starts twerking his left eyebrow, I mean, this guy is very close to Ancelotti in terms of like how attacking he is and how tactically he masterminds all the things. So it's really fun we are having right now, and a great manager. Like, I do not know how we ended up with him, but great job not only on the players but also on the manager. Like, after making so many errors, they finally found a good manager, and I hope this run continues till the end of the season. And if we are able to win the league, okay, so be it. We will enjoy. He will become kind of like, people will say stories about him if he wins it, but that's not that.
You think so?
Yeah. Okay, thanks for having me. And
that's interesting. No worries, JC. Thanks for coming on. You're always on the channel, so I always appreciate it to hear your say. And listen, if there's room later on, you're more than welcome to come back on. All right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, big up, brother. Master, my friend, you've been waiting here for a minute. This is the first time I've seen you. Welcome to the channel. Big up to you, my friend. What do you got to say, dog?
Big up to everybody. I wanted to speak and kind of share how I'm feeling about the season. It's been really great, and last year kind of went the way it should have, I would say. We had an inexperienced striker, and I think that if we had an experienced striker, we would have gotten top four. That was just the piece. Nico wasn't ready, and we missed a lot of opportunities. And so this year, nothing has surprised me from what's happened so far, other than Chelsea's ability to add so much depth to the bench. This was a big surprise to me. I didn't think they were able to do that. I look at them as in the terms of metrics, and I feel like, as Chelsea fans, we're so used to the past and how they kind of handled building teams and, having such great defensive-minded teams, which allowed us to do very well in the Champions League, but not sustain, a top place in the Premier League every year. What we have right now, we have a team that's the top scoring team in the league. And I think that's something that's going to be, a challenge for Chelsea fans to get used to seeing, because that's the way it's going to be every season. If you want to be top in the league or second, you need to be scoring goals. You need to be pulling out those wins on the road against inferior teams. Draws are for losers. That's kind of how it works.
Damn, yeah.
And so what we have now is we have this early stage. It's almost like when you have a family member that you saw and they were like 6, 7 years old. Now all of a sudden they're 13 and they're doing all this stuff, and you're like, wow, look how they're growing, look how they're progressing. But that's all that this is right now. What we have is a dominant Clear Lake situation. Okay.
Sure.
They can organize a structure that is on such a high level in comparison to other teams, that what we're setting up for is a dynasty. That's what's coming over the next 6 to 10 years. We're going to always have the best bench of any team in the league. We're always going to be scoring top 2. Okay. So when you have a situation like that, it's very difficult for these other teams to compete with us long term. I'm not saying this out of my ass. I'm talking about, what they're connected to the Dodgers, in baseball in America. And that's how they run their system. And the Dodgers have been dominant for 10 years now. And what happens is now is when we get top 4, which I knew would be very easy to get, then they're going to have this whole new pay scale they can do. And with that new pay scale, they can go ahead and implement upgrades in certain areas. The B team, as a Chelsea fan, you should think of the B team as everyone on the B team can be replaced every summer. Okay? That's the best way to look at it. So they could have 6, 7 guys in and out. They get rid of the B team, bring in a whole new B team. Okay? That's what we have to understand, is that there's no player bigger than the team. Every player can be replaced.
Yeah. And
it's about the margins. It's about reaching a higher level over and over again. And we don't just do it that way. We do it at a pay scale where the budget, the salaries are so low that we're able to add that, and we're able to get rid of players that are not getting it done at the level we need. While these other teams are still working on an old scale where they're overpaying people like Havertz. Okay. And so they can't get rid of Havertz if they want to. Okay? So that's just one example. So I'm excited about it, and it's incredible. We have a great manager. Of course, that's something that surprised me. No one could expect what he would be able to do. But, but it would seem that he has a lot of confidence. And what I like about it also is that, his experiences dealing with the young players at City, so he's able to get really a good grasp of how to work with younger players. I think that's an awesome thing. I think that really is showing You know, when it comes to the rest of the season, you know, I mean, look, I mean, we're already 8-9 points up on Spurs, 8 or 9 on Villa.
Yeah, that gap is starting to really become visible now.
You know, top 4 is over already. The reason I say it's over, okay, is because every other team that we're dealing with, one injury, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We can have 4. We're still
we
going.
have backup. Yeah.
We're still going.
Yeah.
That's it. That means it's done.
It depends on the injuries. I get where you're coming from, Scott, but he's not necessarily entirely wrong.
Yeah. I mean, just get rid of 4 players that we have for a month and see if we're still not in top 4. You know, that's it. Name any 4 you want. It doesn't matter. You can think we're not Salah FC, you know. So
but then who replaces Palmer? We don't have anyone like Palmer.
I didn't say that he is replacing. I said that if he's gone for a month, we'll still be in top 4. That's all. Yeah, of course. You want to keep your absolute. I mean, but you know, Palmer. Nobody compares to Palmer, right? I mean, come on. You know. But guess what happens to Liverpool if Salah's gone a month?
They do drop off significantly. I think I think they still have talent that can, like, you know, sustain them to an extent. But, you know, you will probably see a little bit more draws. You will probably see a loss or two. Like, Salah's a big part of that Liverpool cog. I mean, I ain't going to lie. Because if Salah wasn't in the Newcastle game yesterday, Liverpool lose. Liverpool lose, clearly. Salah was 2 goals and an assist.
If he wasn't in Chelsea's game, they would have lost as well.
Like,
he's bailed them out a lot of times. And that's what people need to realize. He is the key to probably Liverpool's title charge. Without Salah, there would have been.
Go ahead. I was going to ask JC who's the 4. He said we already have 4 already. I can only think of 2.
We do have bowlers. We would manage to, although not good, but we still
No, the one before.
Oh, sorry. We already have 4 ballers?
No, he said about 4 injuries. I assume that's what he said.
I mean, if you take 4 guys out right now, okay, and they can't play for a month, we're still in top 4.
Okay, name our best 4. Palmer. Let's say Palmer. Let's say Caicedo. Yeah.
Probably.
I would say Jackson and Colwell, maybe?
No, Cucurella.
No, you're right. Cucurella.
Right. And put those, you know, put the guys in, you know, Nkunku,
I see what you're saying, JC. Yeah.
Felix, we can go whatever we want to go. Now, do we want to do that? No, because we're Load Management FC, right? But
yeah.
You know, but we could, okay? And look at these other teams and wait till they have more injuries in the next month or 2, because they're playing teams, you know, Champions League, and they're pushing. Salah's playing 95 minutes every night, 2 times a week. You know, all of that nonsense that they're doing. You know. So tell me that they're going to be able to compete with us, you know. And then when they break down every year, there's a potential they're breaking down, but yet we're going to have the best bench. Why do you think City's been dominant? They've had the best bench every year for a decade.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrone, thank you for waiting patiently. I do want to get to you, but for Pete, my man, you had Master just bring up City, right? I think in terms of how Chelsea are building and how Chelsea have been functioning, I mean, how do you see things from the outside looking? Because I know you're a City fan. I know you're a little bit down in the dumps probably because we're ahead of you on the table. And listen, you know, not all eras come to an end, as a great Ten Hag used to say. But from your perspective, how do you see Chelsea seasons going forward? Even if they were to get injuries like a Palmer, do you think top 4 is pretty much cinched for them? Like, do you think we're guaranteed it at this point with the way we're playing and the depth that we have?
Oh yeah, first and foremost, big up lads, big up gents in the chat. Big up, and yeah, I mean, my day is complete with a utter Spurs capitulation, losing as usual, getting back to the, you know what, they got the Spurs back. I'm happy about that.
Sure. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Talk to me about Chelsea, though.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, talk nicely about my club, bro. That's what I want to hear.
I was talking about your club, bro. I'm talking about the trophyless club, as in Spurs. They just
Yeah.
lost to Bournemouth, so I'm just happy. I'm just celebrating. So yeah.
All right. Fair enough. I mean,
Oh
as
yeah,
long as they
about
don't pass you on
Chelsea,
the
man.
table, you should be happy. Go ahead. Continue what you were saying.
Yeah, about Chelsea. Yeah, like about your club. You man are moving crazy.
Do you think we're in a
Are
title
actually
race?
moving crazy. Not gonna lie. I mean, Cole Palmer finding his form. I mean, Cole Palmer as usual being Cole Palmer. Then Nicholas Jackson finding the best form in that playing 11. He's getting you goals. You man are dominating. You man are actually just winning games in and out. Yeah, but I do see your team getting top 4 this season.
You think it's guaranteed? Even if we
Yeah, I
have
mean, with the
injuries.
way you're playing, and yeah, Marshall, with the way you're playing, and Maresca getting his tactics right, and your players are actually fitting well in that system, I could see you being a threat.
Hey. We'll see. With time. But, I mean, Tyrone, you've been waiting patiently. Thank you so much, bro. And by the way, people, like, if you do want to, have your say, just you don't have to wait for me to come to you. Just, if Tyrone says something mad, you let him know, bro. You're talking crazy. But Tyrone, I'm sure you got a level head on your shoulders. Big up to you. Welcome to the channel. First time caller. What are you saying to me, man? You there?
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Of course, bro.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of points being raised for those individuals who've been saying that they don't think Chelsea are in the title race. I mean, it's a fair point. I think the person that spoke, I think 3 persons ago, would have made mention of the fact that it's a fair argument to say that we are in a title race. And I mean, taking into account the most recent results, the close proximity to Liverpool, and the fact that if individuals say that Arsenal are in the title race, then Chelsea have to be in the title race, considering the fact of not only the result yesterday, but also the fact that we were level on goal difference, goals against, and goals finished, and all of that. But I think the whole situation, and echoing what other person would have said, it all takes into account the fact that there's so much uncertainty. Just like the point that was raised about if we get injuries, will we be able to have that same horsepower? Will we still be able to be getting results, scoring goals? Because if Cole Palmer gets injured, what happens then? I know people say that in terms of recent games, he's not the star man per se, where you're seeing him doing everything, because that's not the case. It's more so in the past, Neto doing things, Madueke to some extent getting assists or other things like that. But I do think that I would say that we're in the title race, not to say we're going to win it or we're going to actually challenge to the or be up there completely, because as I said, uncertainty could be there. But the fact is, the moment that you're so close to a team, and the whole essence of a race is that you're competing there. You might not win it, but you're still amongst the best. That's not to say that we're mediocre, because that I would never say that. But the fact is, there's such close proximity, and if we're able to grind out further results, the point is we can get closer to the likes of Liverpool, or if City continue to win games and they start to have the same points as us, or whatever the case may be, then therefore it's a conversation there again. So I would say that we are. That it doesn't mean we're gonna win it, but we're still amongst it, because we're second, and by being second, whether or not this is the first or the second season of this project, we're still there. So therefore you have to take that into consideration. You have to take that into account. But as I said, uncertainties there. It's about if Cole Palmer gets injured, will we be able to have that same horsepower? Will we still be amongst the best? I'm not, and that's not to say that we're mediocre, because that I would never say that. But the fact is, there's such close proximity, and if we're able to grind out further results, the point is we can get closer to the likes of Liverpool, or if City continue to win games and they start to have the same points as us, or whatever the case may be, then therefore it's a conversation there again. So I would say that we are. That it doesn't mean we're gonna win it, but we're still amongst it, because we're second, and by being second, whether or not this is the first or the second season of this project, we're still there. So therefore you have to take that into consideration. You have to take that into account. But we can manage the injuries, because no one knows what could have happened last season if we didn't have those injuries. We had a complete 11 of players injured last season. If that didn't happen, no one knows what could have happened. So at the end of the day, you have to take that into consideration. But I'd say based on where we are right now, we are, but that doesn't mean we're going to win it.
Okay. I mean, I think it's fair to say we're not going to win it to an extent, because here's the thing, and this is me also pushing back a little bit on what Master said, right? Like, Master, you said before that if you look at last season, we finished where we were supposed to. And although I did predict last season we'd finish 6th, and I think most of us were kind of like being reasonable in the fact that, yeah, we're a young squad and all this and that. One thing that this team has done this season, that to an extent it did last season as well, is exceed the expectation of fans. I don't think any of us on this panel thought that we would be having this discussion that we're in 2nd place this season, right? I don't think any of us in this panel were thinking we were gonna have a discussion saying that Moises Caicedo is the best midfielder in the world. We thought he was a good midfielder, but we didn't think we'd be having the conversation of, maybe not the world, but I would even argue the world, but in the Premier League. None of us thought we would have the conversation that Cucurella is the best left back in the league. None of us thought this season we would have the conversation that Nicholas Jackson, on current form, potentially, probably, most likely, the best striker in the league right now. And that Cole Palmer, even though he hasn't been at his best this season, is still putting up numbers. And no one would have thought that last season he was going to have the season he had. No one would have thought that last season Nicholas Jackson would score the amount of goals he had scored with us in the Premier League alone, with no penalties, in his first professional season as a striker. No one would have thought that Caicedo would have turned it around last season. No one would have thought that Cucurella would have turned it around last season. And the thing, and I go back, now we look at the result. No one would have thought that we would have scored 4 goals against Man City and nearly beat them. And mind you, that was with a Rodri. No one would have thought that we could have beaten Spurs. Well, maybe that's a stretch, but Arsenal, we nearly beat them, right? 2-2, Sanchez, stupid mistake. So I think last season, when you look at the team, and we always have these conversations about how when you're presented with new information, you can always change your expectations, right? Last season, if we had had tactics, if we had had a proper manager, if, let's say, last season we had Enzo Maresca, I think we're talking about playing Champions League this season and challenging for a title this season. I genuinely feel that with Pochettino, we lost a season. We were lucky that he decided to invert Cucurella at the end of the season, that he decided to stop playing Enzo, who had a hernia since December, that players started to come back from injury, that we managed to get a run of games where we weren't dropping points, or losing, I should say. We started to pick up points. We go in a 5-game win streak, and all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a European spot, and we're unlucky that Man City didn't turn up against United in the FA Cup. Otherwise, it would be in Europa. So when you see the results that we drop points in against Sheffield, against Burnley, against Brentford, so on and so forth. Actually, I think we had Brentford's number all season. No, we did drop points against Brentford. There were teams that could have had, we could have gotten points against, that we actually should have beaten because on paper we were the better team despite the inexperience. I think that last season we underachieved. So I don't think last season we actually we ended at where we were supposed to end. I think last season we could have done so much better.
I agree with you slightly. Obviously, the manager, yeah, that's a big thing. Like, if we didn't have Poch, but then there was so many games where we just wasn't clinical. How many games last season where we had chances and we just didn't finish in the games, and then we end up drawing or losing because we just couldn't finish our chances? So I agree with you that obviously it's Poch, but then some of the players just were like Jackson, as good as he was missing a lot of chances, not just him. Palmer was obviously just out of this world, but I remember in so many games where we could have killed it off, we ended up just missing chances, and then yeah, the other team just goes up and ends up beating us, or we
But
end
at
up
the same
drawing.
time, at the same time, CFC, like I'm not comparing, right? But like, I think when you look at the what was the goal return rate? What's that statistic I'm thinking of right now? Conversion. Thank you. If we look at the conversion rate, Holland and Jackson were just about the same, and we knew last season Holland was getting a lot more chances than Jackson. And think about how many times when we could have gone for the game, Pochettino had us play defensively, and then we don't go for the game.
Bro, he tried to have us go defensive against a 9-man Spurs when we went 2-1 up.
Damn, bro.
Like, if you look back at it, Cole Palmer takes the initiative for the 3rd and 4th goal and just hoofs it forward.
Mm-hmm. I think was it you, Lewis, that pointed out the fact that I think Pochettino was trying to have us play defensively, and Palmer was like, "Nah, dude, I'm shooting the ball over the top. I'm continuing the ball over the top."
Yeah, the 3rd goal he hoofs it over to Gallagher, who gets the assist, and the 4th one he sends Jackson off. Like as soon as we went to 2-1, I see Thiago Silva get the ball, reserved pass. Then whoever else is on the left-hand side, reserved pass. It was all just backwards and sideways. I'm thinking, raw. We've really stopped playing the long ball. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the manager we had.
We played for a point against a Bournemouth team in the middle of a 9-match unbeaten run. Sorry, no, let me rephrase that. That makes it sound like they were good. We were facing a Bournemouth team, and we played for the point against the Bournemouth team that hadn't won in 9 games. Like, I think we were in the middle of that, but by the time they finished that run, they didn't win in 9 games, but we played for the point against them.
It was like
we sat back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that the team that was conceding on average 3 goals a game?
I'll say this is under a new manager as well.
Damn, Hassan. dropping.
Was it that, or was it the other championship team? I forgot.
The C team as well.
Yeah, because I remember that one of the championship teams that were conceding like average of 3 goals a game, and we only scored like 1 or 2 past them.
that Middlesbrough game was embarrassing. They had 14 injuries and lost their starting striker 10 minutes into the game.
We lost. Shocking.
Yeah, and then we complained about injuries after the game.
That's why, obviously, I agree with everything you said, Master, but that's the one thing I disagree with, where last season we ended where we were supposed to. Yeah, in the beginning of the season, we all thought, okay, this team's not ready to, really, challenge. Maybe this season, if we win a trophy, you can, have the youth get more chest and go on. But, bro, as we were going on to the season and seeing how these players were playing and how they were being misused, I mean, for fuck's sake, dude, chill out left wing. That lasted 4 games. 4 games or 5 games in a row where we were forcing Chilwell and left wing.
I think I'd change the context of what I mean for expectations. Last season we had half the team was hurt. And as the season went on, you could see, we had limitations to what we could actually accomplish with Poch.
Yeah.
So, and then you knew as games would go on, and you'd have these, draws, and you knew that he wasn't ready yet. Nico wasn't ready to bail us out yet in those situations. Like we're used to as Chelsea fans with in the past, with Drogba, Costa, just getting us through that. He wasn't ready.
Even Giroud to an extent, yeah.
That's a good point.
It wasn't just that as well, defensively as well. Whenever the ball was going over the top, especially that 2-2 Arsenal game, you saw how shook the defense was. I mean, the defense is still as shaky as now, but it's more or less a couple of individuals that keep doing the same mistakes, but they're a lot more composed now compared to last season, where if we let in a goal, they would panic for the last 10 minutes.
And to an extent, I hear what you're saying, because I think it's so unfair the amount of pressure that we put on Jackson, and the fact that the man just basically is turning into a diamond this season. What were you going to say, Scott?
I said we.
He said we.
Okay, majority of Chelsea fans that probably aren't on this panel. I think a lot of us.
Hang on, no. You are one of these guys.
Bro, all I said he was touchy, dog. That's all. I criticized one aspect of his game.
That's right. You was on him. You were on him.
Yeah, you was on him. You was on him a bit too much.
All right, I'm gonna have to rewatch last season's streams. Go ahead.
I would say though, he's arguably on more pressure now than he was last season, and he's still performing.
You think so?
I think he is. I think this is the season where he has to step up because remember, right? We were meant to get Ozyman. We were meant to get the big guy in front
that's
of
true.
him.
Competition pressure.
Since that, look, we literally forgot about Ozyman. That's because Jackson's bugging.
No one's talking about it. Really.
Bugging.
I also think as well, I actually agree with that because I think as well going into the season, he's our only striker, number one.
Yeah.
And he's still ahead of like a guy like Nkunku, where even though I think that Nkunku is distinctly average in terms of how he's played this season, he still has this, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of like, not aura, but like he just has this.
Just determined, isn't it? He knows he has to perform. He knows he's confident in himself as well. To be fair.
Yeah, and I think as I said, he has like Nkunku still has this image in football of like he's this really good finisher and he's this really good footballer and whatnot. And it's like Jackson's playing ahead of him and still has to perform theoretically to be ahead of him, and he's stepping up to the plate. And like I agree with what Hassan said, he's got way more pressure this season, especially because we didn't get the Osimhen or Gyökeres. And there was all that talk of we need a number 9. We need a number 9. There's still that talk of we need a number 9.
Yeah.
Starter, by the way. Not even just as a backup, as a starter. But he's still performing. He's scoring goals. He's the second best. He's at worst the second best striker in this league. That's not up for debate. I'll happily say that to any Newcastle fan, any Arsenal fan, anyone. Like outside of Haaland, he's the best striker in the league.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. He's doing better than Isak. He's doing better than Dominic Solanke.
There's only one outside of Haaland. Outside of Haaland, there's only one other striker in the league that's got more goals than him, and it's Chris Wood.
Yeah, and I know. Look, come on.
Wood's still got more than him, right?
Yeah, he's got one more.
Yeah.
Jackson's got 7. Wood's got 8.
Wood's got 8. Yeah.
Wood
went on a mad run in the beginning of the season, and it's held up, but I don't think it's gonna last. I think.
I didn't even talk as well for the top goal scorer. Salah's on 13. Fuck me.
Yeah, no, Salah's going on an insane run right now. But if we're talking just strikers.
The season.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I mean, like, yeah, I get where you're coming from. Where last season, no one really expected us to, perform the way we performed. But when you see the performances and see what the players were capable of, I really think if we had a proper manager, if we had Enzo last season, I think Jackson even comes out, in consideration for top goal scorer. I think he gets even more goals. I think he breaks more than 15 goals alone in the Premier League. He was at 14 last season with no manager.
What, you think he's going to get... Who got top goal scorer? Haaland?
Bro, I don't know about top goal scorer. But
yeah, I was about to say, you think he's going to score more than Haaland?
I think he's up there.
No, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
I'm just saying, like, even last season, in his first season, where, the putting the expectation on him, making him our number 1, when in reality, I remember the context. Like in the summer last season, we were talking about, okay, Nicholas Jackson is our striker for now because we're gonna go and get another striker. Like I remember that being the conversation, that he wasn't supposed to be our number 1.
Then that's why I said that Jackson was under pressure this season, because if Jackson flopped, or if he was missing his chances, or if it was a clinical, he would A, be gone, or B, would probably go in for Osimhen in January. But the fact that Jackson's scoring and we're on this sort of run has kind of made us forget about, the main number 9.
I think what's mad is I think people forget 6 months prior, this guy was a failed medical for, I think, his knee away from joining Bournemouth as their backup striker.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe even a winger. He might have even played on the wing for Bournemouth. He might not have even been a striker. And if he would have been behind Solanke. But he failed a medical and then joined us 6 months later. And
I totally forgot about that.
And don't forget that, and he literally went on a run of form to score. Like, that's why he had that 30%.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, that was before he'd even went on that run of 9 goals in 8 games.
Yeah, exactly.
They were gonna sign him,
It's crazy, man.
But that's kind of like, listen, I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm reserving my thoughts on if we're in a title race until the end of December, because I want to see this team make a run of wins, right? Like I want to see do what City and Liverpool and Arsenal have done. Go on this mad run of form where you're winning, like 7 games in a row.
March.
Listen, I
smart man.
I strongly believe in this team, but I'm waiting until December to see if, like, okay, we're in a title race, because you always know.
You think
with
this
Chelsea,
run of games though is enough? Because I won't lie, I expect us to go on a run with the fixtures that we have.
So I expect us to go on a run too. Here's where I see it. The way I see it is, one, if we go on a run, then the next step in development for this team is, okay, we have to beat a Man City or an Arsenal or a Liverpool. And I think this team is capable of. I think when you look at the season, we got Man City way too early. Like, if we had gotten Man City now...
January.
What happened?
City ain't till late January,
no,
innit?
the start of the season, Lewis.
No, but
I know we got them way too early, but like the next time we get them is late January. So I say March and everything. Like if we keep the run up till City and we have a very good performance there, hey, maybe.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if we can go on a run, that run shows me that this team is focused and this team is like zoned in and they are trying to go for that top spot. And then from there, the next test is, okay, let's see if we can give City a game. Like, if we can beat City, which I think this team can beat City. In current form, this team can beat City. I'm saying it again. I really think this team can beat Man City. Then I'm thinking, okay, this team has the capability to do it. I really do. And the other thing I was going to bring up, too, is that, this discussion that we're having. Last season, if we had a proper manager, we would have easily been in top 4. We would have easily been in Champions League. And then this season, we would have been having the discussion of challenging for the league. Or am I wrong in saying that?
Because then we'd be able to offer higher wages because we'd be back in the UCL too. Like that Satanist has sent us back a year. We call it what it is.
No, he's not wrong. I
am not a clown.
Back up.
I think in relation to the... Just quickly, Marshall, I think in relation to like the why I'd say we're title challengers in January, Lewis, just going back to what I said earlier in the stream, is like, if we get through this run, this is the hardest run we'll have to face in terms of a number of games in such a short period of time. It will show that the squad can compete, the whole squad can compete in the Premier League. Because like, even when we get to March and April, when we're playing in the Conference League semi-finals against like Astana or whatever, like I still expect our B team to win that. Because the level in the Conference League is so bad. There is a team in the Conference League that has not conceded a goal, by the way. Like a single goal. And they're the team that are second behind us. And I think that's who we're going to face in the final. And like by the time we get to that point, at that point, that's when I can say, okay, you can play the guys, but that's at the end of the season. So we will still have our best team. Unless injuries happen, we'll still have like our best guys available for the hard games. Whereas now it's like, you can't play a Neto twice a week against 2 Premier League teams. You can't play it.
I'd probably make the argument that he'll probably stick with the B team all the way to the final and probably play the B team in the final.
He should. I'll be real. The level in that Conference League sucks. It's terrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think because I think he's got the mindset of the way Arteta has the mindset of like it's the Premier League, Champions League. It's like the big trophies sort of mindset, but. I don't know, man. We don't know. Of course, like I can only speculate with the Conference Leagues to see who will play. You never know. He might end up playing the strongest 11 in the final, but I guess we don't know.
But you see where I'm coming from, right? Like in terms of like where we were in the league position yesterday. Wow. I wish it was I don't wish it was yesterday.
You okay,
I'm not. In terms of last season, we underperformed. And so I feel like now we're at the level we're supposed to be. It almost feels like we just picked up the slack that we didn't gain last season. And we're back on track to where we're supposed to be. So in one mindset, in one alternate universe, I'm thinking like, bro, we can challenge for a title this season.
You're not obviously. I mean, we can, but then, as you said, if we can go on a run of 8, 9, 10 wins, that's what it takes to.
And we can do it.
Yeah, if we can do that,
Man City, we could do it.
And then we beat Man City.
I just like the patient side of it, innit? Because like,
of course,
whatever happens, we're having a successful season.
We're
going to make
either way.
That's why I'm not in a rush to think about whether we're in a title. I would happily just fall into it. And if we end up in a title race, I guess we gotta go win the league then. Here's what it is. But I ain't gonna put that expectation on now because then I'm gonna be disappointed.
I think the common consensus in this panel is top 4 with the trophy, right? Essentially.
You have to win a trophy this season.
Oh, yeah.
We're winning a trophy. I'll be sold it. We're winning a trophy. We're winning the Conference League. Like, if we don't?
If we don't, then
if we don't win the Conference League, like, bro, I liquidate the club. I'm gonna be so honest. Liquidate the club.
Someone gotta get sold if we don't win that.
Bro,
literally
let's be
just
honest,
as a
bro.
message
We
to the
are
rest of the squad,
basically
you
the Real
embarrass us,
Madrid
bro.
of that Conference League, man. If we lose that, it's embarrassing.
Even West Ham won it.
Oh
Every
yeah,
team's
guys,
looking
don't
up to
forget,
us,
we got given the Club World Cup as well.
In the what cup?
No, that's
That
next
AK,
season.
not big up, man.
Wait,
Yeah,
what
big
cup?
up, yeah.
Oh, in the Club World Cup. In the Club World Cup. I think he has a delay, but yeah, I mean, we have to win a trophy this season. That's why I was upset when we crashed out of the
You guys can
Carabao.
hear me now.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, we can hear you. What were you saying, brother?
Yeah, I was saying I just saw the FIFA Club World Cup draw, and you guys actually have an easy group
To be fair, all of us do really.
get past.
We have
Like-
the easiest group in the whole competition.
We do. Like, but I think most of the big teams.
Stop a team Juventus or something. Like, it'll be alright.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we
like
got
most
Juventus.
of the big
Yeah, we
teams
got
are making it
Juventus.
out. Hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think once we get to the round of 16, that's where things are gonna get spicy, and we'll see like the big
I
teams
don't know if
facing
you've
off.
seen this.
Talk to
I
me,
know
man.
it's Ben Jacobs, so take it with a pinch of salt. But he said Chelsea's charges isn't a today or tomorrow worry, and it could take up to five years.
Oh
for a
shit,
final
that
verdict.
has been brought up. Because someone brought that up earlier in chat, and I was like, no one's talked about that in forever, and now you're telling me that Ben Jacobs brought
Well,
it up.
to be honest though, when it comes to charges and like the big sort of higher up sort of decisions and stuff, Ben Jacobs is a little bit reliable with that sort of information. But don't shoot me. Like I'm not gonna say that he's 100% reliable with this sort of thing, but he does keep like an update or accuracy with this. He's one of the first few that does this sort of thing.
Oh, maybe it might be worth listening to. Nice. I mean, it's good news anyway, so I'd rather believe it. Because the one thing I don't want some
But
random
he did break out the
on our
whole
head top
ownership.
after all of this.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
break out the ownership news as well. He was one of the first.
This is true. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how
maybe
it
it's
kind
just
of
the
became
transfer news,
relevant.
which he's less reliable on then.
Yeah. Transfer news. He's more of a tap in with that.
I don't see a tweet about it, but I'll take your word for it, Lewis. It's
I've got
just
CFC Daily posts. So I'll put in the private.
appreciate it, but yeah, like I imagine that came to like, came back to hit us right in the face as we're going on this like brilliant run of form this season where we're exceeding our expectations.
Tell the rivals they needed a point deduction to finish above us.
Exactly.
enough.
That's
I
all they're
heard you,
hoping for. That's all they're hoping for. The same with us. They're hoping that we get relegated and all the charges come true. And basically, basically they want their trophies. And Daniel Levy wants compensation if we are found guilty.
Yeah, 115 got pushed until next summer, I believe. Though that's what I heard.
Yeah, next summer. Yeah.
Which kind of makes me think like, did you guys re-sign? Did Pep agree to re-sign because he didn't have to deal with it?
No, Pep.
I was gonna say,
saw-
do you guys think that the whole 5-year thing is because the Premier League's focusing on Man City's case first before they focus on us? So,
Marshall, bring this one up. There's a lot more on this.
No, they could focus
Gotcha.
on more than one. They just like because they did with.
I'm just saying though, they probably are prioritizing the City case because there's a lot more charges with that. Whereas just us, it's like it's a admission of guilt.
Yeah, I'll read this out loud. The latest on Abramovich era investigation. It's absolute nonsense to be talking about potential points deduction happening immediately when no charges even exist yet, as the Premier League are still investigating. This is not like Forest or Everton, which were charged as part of the current PSR cycle. Even if today Chelsea were charged and we don't know yet, there would have to be a hearing, and it would drag on for a significant period of time. You are probably looking at a minimum of 2 years before anything is concluded if Chelsea are charged with the Abramovich era. And if the hypothetical happens, Clear Lake Bully would fully cooperate as they did with UEFA, which can potentially lessen the severity of the punishment. First, we have to see if Chelsea have been charged, then we have to wait and see if it's a hearing or a settlement, as they agreed with UEFA. And then the whole process would need to run its course, but you can't have a punishment for something you haven't been charged with. Fair enough. So this will take a while.
No, what? That don't even sound like waffle. A lot of that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ben Jacobs is reliable when it comes to these sort of political higher
fair play, man.
Ben Jacobs did speak on this.
Ain't gotta worry about
too.
no points deduction up the Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm hoping that by the time anything like this happens, our club is like back to. I mean, it looks like it's on its way back to stability, but I'm hoping we're a much stable club by then. If it's 2-3 years from now, and we don't have to worry too much about it. But I also don't think like how much damage could this possibly do? I don't think it's gonna like cause us to get relegated or.
It's probably like a 5-point deduction at best, because we're probably fully cooperating and stuff. I think how much did Everton get? Like 10 points?
I'll put my money on the Clear Lake lawyers. I'll tell you that.
That's not a bad point. I ain't gonna lie. That's not a bad point. I think we could. Imagine waiting like 5 years or 4 years just to get like 5 points deducted. I feel like that's so anticlimactic for the rivals.
Yeah, because rivals want this. They want it so bad, but they want their trophies back. They literally want their trophies back.
I mean, listen, you guys didn't need the 115 charges to start capitulating, but I don't expect you guys to keep capitulating. I think Pep will figure out a way to get you guys back to winning ways, and it's up to Chelsea to continue winning and not drop points so that we're still ahead of you guys.
Not that people. We will find a way. We will find a way to gain form without Rodri until he comes back.
I actually like, and I didn't think I'd ever see the day. Just to go on a little bit of a tangent, I actually like that Pep Guardiola actually played Jack Grealish as an attacking midfielder yesterday. I never thought I would see it ever again.
That worked wonders.
Yeah, because he's an attacking midfielder. That's all he did at Villa. He carried Villa, being a cam for Villa on the left side. And we haven't seen that Jack Grealish since.
I would say good thing. I would say good thing. Pep has done his homework. He has watched this. So.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, that's where I stand with the whole title race thing. Like, I want to wait till the end of December before I come out with chess and say like, yeah, we're in it, because I think if we're in a run of games, I think this team is capable of beating these top 3 teams. We almost did it with Arsenal. You know, we didn't play our best. It was early onset season. I think Maresca, like JC had said earlier, I think Maresca early onset was experimenting. I think now he knows his spine, and each game he's approaching it tactically. Like, okay, Malo Gusto will be good for this game against, Southampton. I think against Leicester, let me get away with Enzo. Enzo can play, and he had a good game, and he's managing Enzo well, where we're seeing Enzo have 7 GNA in the last 7 games or something like that. I think it's something wild like that. I don't remember. He's been doing well. You see Moises Caicedo rocking up and playing any position that's asked of him. Cucurella's having a season. Like, we're actually developing a spine. And this was supposedly the team that was, inexperienced. The team that, why would anyone go to Chelsea? And there's no future for Chelsea. And the owners don't know what they're doing. The directors have no idea what they're doing. Meanwhile, they're the ones that were recruiting players like Duran or Samuel Meridian or Gyökeres. If you even remember that far back, we were linked to Gyökeres before he was on his mad run. But people were saying because he's from Coventry, what the hell? Like, bro, this guy ain't it. Like, there's a talent ID there, and who knows? Like, Scott said this, right? If in January, so how about this, Lewis? If we go on this run, right? We go into January, and before we play City, the owners decide to make like a decent signing. Like, let's say like maybe a Gyökeres or an Osimhen. We go back for him. then do you think the ownership are thinking like, yo, we could win the Prem and we're gonna push? I think fucking. I think Lewis went AFK. I mean, does anyone think it's far fetched? No, it was for Lewis, but I think he's AFK.
Sorry, I just came back. What was that?
No, I'm just saying, if we go on this run, right, Lewis? Let's say right before we get to Man City. And mind you, I'm not trying to sway your opinion. I just want to like pick your brain. Let's say we go on this run, right? We win all our games up until Man City. And in the January transfer window, right before we play Man City, we actually make a signing, like a Gyökeres or an Osimhen. Do you think then the owners are like, yo, we can go for the title, and maybe that changes your mind?
From what I've seen the briefing saying, they're not gonna make targets till like March. But if we have the right window, bring in a good goalkeeper, bring in a centre back, like certain Danish guy from Barcelona and all that. Let me tell you, from the outside, nonchalant gimmick. Inside, let's see where we can go in it. Why not? Why not? Like, if things are falling in the right place, why not? But I'm still gonna do up the nonchalant gimmick.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Osimhen's release clause trigger in January?
I mean, Win Stanley.
I ain't even looking at Osimhen like that. I won't even front. I don't mind if we get him, but like,
Bro,
you can go get an understudy for all I care. They were gonna go for Duran and Omrodion. No one was really keen on them, and now they look like they'd be great transfers for us. So, hey, go for the understudy. Clearly, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm going as far as thinking like, dude, if they do make a signing like that, which again, I agree with Lewis. I don't think it's necessary, but if you want to do it, then go for it. Like, I'm not, I think it's great. Even go for an understudy. I don't care. But if they're making a signing like that to bolster the squad in January, I think even the ownership are thinking like, bro, we can make a little sneaky title run. Like, we just got to keep consistently. Like,
but wasn't we always going for a striker anyway, though?
I think we were up until we realized how good Jackson is.
No, I think we're still gonna get a striker no matter what. If it's not Jan, it's end of the season. Just to have someone there.
No, I think so too, but I just don't know if it's gonna be like a top like break a record transfer fee kind of signing like we were thinking about doing for like we were gonna break a record transfer fee, but we were gonna spend a lot of money on Osimhen. Gyökeres is a good amount of money too, like,
Why did the Osimhen deal fail again? I can't remember.
It was the agent.
The
agent.
Got
rid of his agent.
Yeah, it was mostly to do with the agent, and agent wanted a good chunk of change and all this and that. It was he fired the agent since then, and now he has a release clause in his loan right now to for Galatasaray. He has a release clause in January that a club can come in with a significant bid, and he can go from Galatasaray to that club. Which I think he'd go for it.
Sorry, I was gonna say, who would you pick out of Gyökeres or Osimhen if you had a choice? Who would you pick?
Bro, I'll be so honest, I have no idea. And the only reason I don't know is because I feel like I myself haven't done enough research on Gyökeres. All I know is the guy's a baller, and we were linked with them 2 seasons ago. If you remember, under the Potter season, we were linked with Gyökeres, but no one was having it. I know I've seen Osimhen play, and I think aerial wise, he would give us like, a good threat. But at the same time too, like people want to pretend that Osimhen doesn't miss as many chances as Jackson was missing last season. Like, he's just as like wasteful as Jackson is. Mind you, he has more experience. He's going to be the better striker just based on that experience and knowing what to do in certain scenarios. But Jackson's been stepping up this season. And I don't know if that's credit to Maresca or credit to Jackson himself and the maturity of the player. But, like, right now, I ain't missing an Osimhen.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like... Yeah, go
I
ahead.
feel like
Hassan.
I
You
feel
guys
like
have got to
because
head out, but take care, everybody.
yeah,
Big up,
take
guys.
care.
Big up, Lewis. Thanks
See
for
you
coming
later.
on.
I was
Guys, check
gonna
out
say
Carefree Lewis if you haven't done so
Jackson,
already. Hmm?
I was saying because Jackson's stepping up now, there's no urgency, so we can just take our time and observe like who's the better of the striking options. Because that's literally how it is going right now.
Yeah.
And Jackson's conversion rate has gone up now. I think it's like what 25% now. You know, online with Haaland's conversion
I
rate.
think
so
it's better than Holland's, to be honest. I don't know what the conversion rate is, but it might be better than Holland's this
I
season.
mean, to
I
be
ain't gonna
fair,
lie
this
to you.
season because of Haaland's gone on like a 5-6 game goalless run, I think it is better now. Because Haaland hasn't been scoring as of lately.
Haaland's been missing insane amount of chances, whereas Nicholas Jackson this season, in the chances he has gotten, he's been putting them away pretty frequently. Obviously, Aston Villa, he had like, I guess you could say he had a hat trick of chances. Again, was it Villa or was it Leicester? No, it was Leicester. It was Leicester. Against Leicester, he had like a hat trick of chances, but he put away one at least, and then the other two he wasn't able to. But regardless, like. He still had a good game, and he's still putting away the chances that at least one of the chances he's getting. Whereas last year, he was a lot more wasteful. You found the conversion rate?
Yeah, it's 26%.
And do you know what Haaland's at right now?
I'm gonna check now.
So Nicholas Jackson, 26% conversion rate. Go ahead, see.
I think Jackson obviously will get better as well because he's had a season already. The first season's always like, you know, you're acclimatizing to the league, so it's like now he's done that. Second season you should see more, which we are, which is perfect. So it's like it's good to see that he's picking up, he's becoming a bit more clinical. Now we just need him to keep this run going. If he can keep it going, then yeah, we won't really need to look for a mad striker like that. We can get an understudy, but I'm still happy with getting a good striker because I don't mind having two good strikers, to be fair. Like, I know people are saying they don't want another good striker, but me personally, I don't mind having two good strikers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all either. I feel like I want to bring in another striker, like maybe like a Delap or something like that, because I kind of want Jackson to have his like Andrei Shevchenko moment where like, you know, you're doing well, but let's bring in a striker who we know will do like, you know, his class. And then, you know, Drogba steps up and he forces Shevchenko to get benched pretty much. I want Jackson to have that same trajectory. And
but
honestly,
Shevchenko was world class before, and then we got him before he had he had a bad injury, I think, in his last season. Then we got him, and then it just didn't work out for him. But you're right, it's good.
Torres,
like the lap would be
the Torres example or an Elka.
Oh yeah, the lap would be a good buy because he's different to Jackson. He gives us that aerial, that physical. Because we don't have. I don't think we have that
Marshall,
aerial.
I'm gonna bounce. Take care.
I'm going for Pete.
Big up.
You know, I wanted to say that you know, when it comes to the rumors we hear about forwards, you know, I don't believe any of them. You know, I think the agents kind of use Chelsea as leverage for potential
This
talk.
is true. This is very true.
So what I see is that Clear Lake has a substantial advantage in comparison to other teams. You know, and they're going to do the same thing they did with Sancho and they did with Felix when it comes to a striker, someone that's, you know, looked down upon a bit, but their scouting knows that, you know, when they enter this area with the talent we have, they're going to come up again. And that's kind of what I see happening, you know, especially with Nico, the way he's progressed, you know. It's difficult for me to even see someone replacing him. I mean, he's top 2, top 3 in the top league, you know. I mean, what more can you ask for, you know?
So, Master, just to build off on that real quick before you continue on, Hassan just pointed it out. Haaland has a 17% conversion rate this season. Nicholas Jackson has a 25% conversion rate this season.
There you go. And the thing is, Nico's 22. I mean, he's going to get better, you know. He's going to get a lot better. And so is the rest of the team, obviously, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I see. I see just them looking for deals, stealing people. You know,
opportunity signings.
They rob. They're thieves. You know, and they're going to continue to go that route. You know, and because they can value assess better than everybody. That's the key. You know, and So why take chances, And, Chelsea fans know, I mean, we have a long history of overpaying for strikers that don't perform, No need to go that route. And so, that's what's going to happen.
That's 100% true. And that's the thing that, like, I hope that this season, at least, maybe not humble, but like, well, I mean, now that I said that, hold on. Now that I said that. With the transfer window, I hope that this season kind of shows the fans that, and not you guys, I think most of the ones that are really loud in the Twitter spaces and all that stuff or on the social medias, I hope this season shows the fans that you don't need to spend top dollar to get good quality players. Like, and Master said it perfectly, and I've said this over and over again in previous shows, where Chelsea have a history of getting burned by big transfer signings. And even like this season, when you look at Enzo Fernandez, like, if it wasn't for this recent run of form, people were just lambasting us with, oh, look at the $105 million flop, or 115. I forget how much his price was. It was up there. Oh, look at him flop and all this stuff. Like, he's not good and all that stuff. When in reality, we all know that if the opportunity to sign him was there, the other rival clubs would have been on it. Like, we know that. Even the conversations we had with Caicedo, how, oh my God, look at the fee you paid for him and how shitty he is. He's not worth that fee. Now no one's talking about the fee. But when you look at Nicholas Jackson, when you look at Cole Palmer, bro, I am more than glad to bring up that fee to show you, listen, we paid this much for this kid and we're getting this. I think right now Cole Palmer is a £100 million player. Nicholas Jackson, £80 million player. Caicedo, with the way he's performing right now, bro, that man can push 200 million pounds. Like, in terms of value. Cucurella, bro, 100 million pound player. How consistent he is at left back. Like, it's insane. So now we're talking about profit on these players versus like losses. But that's besides the point. My point being is that I hope going forward, like now, especially with these directors, right, and how they've earned, I wouldn't say they earned the trust of everyone, but they've calmed down the nerves of a lot of people, especially now looking at the players who we're linked with and how they're performing. You know, people getting hyped up about Esteval, who had a brilliant goal last night, by the way, if any of you guys saw it.
Free kick.
Brilliant free kick goal from this 17-year-old is insane. You know, there was a lot of criticism about that signing. Why didn't we get Elise? Why did we prioritize that one? Well, bro, this guy is going to be generational. Now, I say that, but at the same time, I do have to emphasize the fact that one thing I think we have to our advantage is that we signed a lot of young players. And something that we've all pointed out is that these players are still developing. Nicholas Jackson, having a great season, still developing. More to come. Palmer, not as good as last season, I would say, but I think that's because everyone else has risen, and so he's not sticking out like a sore thumb. But he's still having a good season regardless. I think he's still up there in the goal-scoring charts, the GNA charts, the chance creation charts, all that. He's still young. Caicedo, Enzo, our whole team is still really young. There's still room for improvement and development. However, I will say, not all development is linear. There will be some players where I'm looking at like, you just got to go. But what were you going to say, COC for life?
Yeah, I was going to say, what you can see with these new owners and directors is our transfer strategy is way different to, like, let's say the Mourinho days. Mourinho days, it was like we'd buy the best ready-made players, where now we're buying the best young potential players. So the risk is a lot lower. Then, as you said, we're not gonna pay the big bucks for Shevchenko's and all these guys, where we could just go and buy someone who's young and has got potential. So if he's not good, we haven't spent 80 or 90 million on these young players. So for us, it's like, I feel like the board, they're actually using their brains, and they're not basically doing the same strategy that what we was before. And then you've got the longevity of these young players that if they do if they do become really good, we've got them for like 8, 9, 10 years because that's what Maresca was saying. Like, we're going to be dominating for many years to come, and that's because we've got young, good players. So that's a bonus of not buying like older players, because they won't have a long sort of shelf life. Whereas these youngsters, they can just get better and better with an age, and then we can dominate if they do start, progressing and getting better and better.
I think another thing to add to that is that when you look at the market now, when you look at the finances across the board with all football clubs, looking at clubs like Inter, Juve, so on and so forth, right? Looking at a bunch of these teams, even Barcelona to an extent, the financial troubles that have come with the overinflation of player prices, bringing in these top players only for them to underperform or not do well. And then it costs these teams a lot in their finances, the wages they're on and shit. Like, you look at that and you start thinking like, bro, yeah, why would I buy these top players, take a huge risk on them not translating over to the Prem versus going for the young, talented, using my talent ID and getting these players that are fantastic at the level that they're at, the age that they're at. They have the experience from playing this many games already at this age. I get where the strategy is coming from. I don't mind spending money on an experienced player, like an older player. Like, I don't mind a Tosin transfer, for example. It was on a free. That's why I'm saying before, like, if Laporte is on a free this summer, if Ruben Diaz, we already know is not, but like even Danish Maldini, Andreas Christensen, if he's on a free this summer, bro, go for him. Why not? We save money, because if he wasn't on a free, you guys already know Barcelona would be trying to finagle us for like 80 mil.
And you're right. We bought Thiago Silva, and look how good he was. So you can get older players that we know that can obviously perform. I actually like a mixed, balanced sort of team. So a lot of young players, but then I like 1 or 2 or 3 senior players. So you're right. If we do get a couple, maybe 1 or 2 or whatever senior players, then who knows? Like, the world's our oyster in that sense, that we can go on and dominate for years to come. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who we actually go for in the summer or in January.
Yeah, and mind you, it is risky both ways, right? Like, if you're getting a youngster, you are taking the risk that he's never going to live up to the potential. But at least that's a safer risk than getting a Romelu Lukaku, who we all thought was going to bang at Chelsea, and then he ended up being a flop. Or even better example, Sterling is a good example as well. Even better example, Timo Werner. We all thought Timo Werner was going to come in here and be like our number 1 striker, and bro, we moved him to left wing, and then he just didn't play, and then it just ended up not working out, and we paid the price with the fee. So listen, I'm okay with the strategy. I think we should still get like some experienced players in there if the price is right. But if you guys want to keep recruiting like this, I think now at this point, these players that we have right now, this young team, they are going to be that experienced team. Like Enzo Fernandez, despite his age, has played a lot of games. Nicholas Jackson, despite his age, has played a lot of games now. Cole Palmer, a lot of games now under his belt. Like, we have another season with these guys, another season of experience under their belt. Next season, these players that we were calling inexperienced, I think it's safe to say now they are experienced players. So you can start bringing in more youngsters and having them like train and develop under the wing of like a Cole Palmer, under the wing of like a Nicholas Jackson, so on and so forth. Time will tell, but I mean, Prime, I'm sure you have a few things you want to say, and I do want to wrap it up soon, but big up to you, man. What are you saying, brother? You there?
Hello. What is your...
Hey.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
What's your question?
There wasn't really a question. We're just talking about...
Yeah, what's your question?
There wasn't really a question. We're just talking about how we've been recruiting, and I guess this all started from the fact that in January, I did say if we go on this run of games and before we face Man City in January, let's say Chelsea were to sign an Osimhen or Gyökeres, or just a good signing, right? Like a named signing for any position, do you think that's an indicator now that Chelsea believe that they're in the title race and they're going to go for it? Tough question,
If we sign a top goalkeeper, top center back, and a quality like striker or different profile of striker, two of those three positions, if we get that in January, then yeah, that'll make me believe that the board and Maresca believe that we're good enough to push for the title this season. I don't think that's going to happen though.
Yeah. I don't know.
I like what Maresca is doing. He is. People think Maresca is kind of downplaying expectations. I mean, he is and he isn't. He's trying to keep things, as much as he's trying to like push the players and trying to show that they can get more out of themselves. He's also trying to be realistic. He's not trying to do the Arsenal thing where you win a few games and all of a sudden we can win the title, and then you don't win it and then you're disappointed by an unrealistic expectation. He's trying to keep things like, because these are young players, they have to continuously be, pushed to get the best out of them. But in terms of can we go for the title, I don't think we will. But that's my thinking as a fan. In terms of Maresca, in terms of their ownership, in terms of these players, mathematically, they're still within it. So long as they're there, why not just continue to push and then see what happens? If they continue to push and then they fall away a little bit by February or March, then fair enough. But let's see, because as of right now, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing regardless, and City and Arsenal underperforming. If City and Arsenal weren't underperforming and they were up there with Liverpool, no one would say we're in a title race. So
I have to think about that one. Probably not.
How far are Liverpool from us? 8 points, is it?
7.
7 points. So if City and Arsenal were competing, if City were top right now on, say, 9 points, Liverpool were on 7, Arsenal were on 6, no one would say we're in a title race.
City didn't replace Alvarez. They lost Rodri. I think they're right where they should be.
I think so too, to an extent.
I don't think they're underperforming at all. And I'm surprised that they're doing as well as they are. That's the point. I mean, they've made some big mistakes. I don't know if it has to do with the 115, but it probably does, because, they've been so solid in replacing pieces over the last decade, having the best bench, but that doesn't exist anymore, right? We have the best bench. So, so they're in a world of pain, I think, long term. And I'm going to enjoy kicking their ass.
Yeah, I hear it. Go ahead, I'm just saying, like, there's circumstances as to why we look like potentially we're in a title race. So if the manager and the ownership, if they believe that we can do it, then let's go push for it. Like, we can only do what we can until we're not. So
Prime, can I ask you something though? Like, one of those circumstances that you're saying, right? Like, because I get where you're coming from, right? If Arsenal performed the way they were expected to perform, and if Man City didn't drop off the way they were, I mean, you look at where we are on the table, and you're thinking we're probably in 4th place instead of 2nd place. And that's the circumstances why we're in this conversation of title race, right? But is one of those circumstances also that we're a good team to you?
But no, I know we're a good team. That's why I'm saying we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. We should have done this last year.
So, question for you then, Prime. Yeah, we did. Question for you then, because this is the same logic that I ran on my end. And Curry, I'll ask you the same thing. If last season we perform, because the one thing that this team has done consistently is exceed our expectations. Last season, I expected this team to be in sixth position, but after seeing the performances, we could see that this team could make top four. Now, this season, most of us were saying Chelsea are going to be in top four, fourth place, and then we're seeing that Chelsea are in second place, and now we're having discussions about a title race. So, in terms of where we were supposed to be last season, based on how the team performed, if last season we had Maresca and we were in top four, this season then is a title race season, is it not? Damn.
Okay.
Damn, I really hit you with that logic. Like, fuck.
I was waiting for Prime to say something, but because you said Prime and then me. But if we're saying, no. The reason why I'm saying that is it depends on the points, right? We've had things where United were second place, but they were second by like 20 points. That's not a title race, right?
Yeah.
So even if we were fourth, I think we would be behind. What did Villa get last season? Sorry, let me just double check. My apologies. I'm just gonna double check the stats. So last season, because we were going fourth. So let's say we had 69 points. But first place was Man City at 91. Right? That's a big difference. That's 22 points.
Yeah.
Villa
were 68 last season. Third place was 82
points in a season, which wouldn't have been possible. My thing would have been to make that less. So mine would have been make that less than 10. Would have been my push. And then the next season would have been title challenge. That's what I've been saying. I said if we're 6 points behind Liverpool, I'm assuming they're going to be first until January 25th when we play City and we win against City, then we go for the title. Because the whole thing is supposed to be with us is that because we're playing in the Conference League and our squad depth is so good, later on in the season, people are going to be stuck with more things, right? These bigger
injuries and all that. Yeah.
If Liverpool keep going further in the Champions League, they'll have to keep playing their first team, right? And they're already short on defenders and midfielders, right? Man City already has Rodri missing, and if they lose anyone else during that period, if they're going to go further in the Champions League, they're going to lose players. And if Arsenal lose anyone attacking wise, in specific Saka or Odegaard, they're fucked attacking wise, right? That's when we're supposed to actually make up more ground, in my thinking. Is because these people will be going further in competitions because they're also some of the best teams in the world, and they'll be playing more games with not as good squad depth while we're playing Conference League. And even if we have Palmer playing some Conference League games, we should be obliterating anyone that's not named Florentina. Anyone that's not named Florentina, because Florentina's having a great season in Serie A, if you guys aren't watching. Besides them, no one else should be standing in our way. I'm 100%. Expecting Palmer starting and him getting subbed up at the 60th minute for João Felix at most, if it's not Florentina. So that's where we should be actually gaining ground in my head if we pass this difficult period. Because other people will be getting more fatigue, getting more tired, picking up more injuries than we are.
Yeah.
These guys are already missing Konate, and this was the first game they played with Kwanzaa, and they tied with Newcastle in Liverpool. We saw how just missing out on Odegaard fucks up their entire attack for Arsenal, and it would be the same for Saka. We're seeing how bare bones it is for Man City attacking wise. Okay, they got their first win. Congrats, you won 3-0. But they were on a lose. They hadn't won 7 games in a row in all competitions because they don't have a Rodri, and their attacking structure is shit. And Erling Haaland still hasn't scored a goal, by the way, guys. And Jeremy Doku got his first goal of the season in week 14. And last year, I think he scored 3 goals in the league. He had like 8 assists, but he had 3 goals in the league, so he's not a goal scorer. So, like I said, if we beat Man City on the 25th and we win all our games until Man City and we're 6 points behind Liverpool, we go for the league. If we have to overspend on the deadline day for the transfer window, we fucking do it and we go for the league. We should not miss out on opportunities that arise. I get every single title we won, we've been leading. But let's make this title the one that we pause, or come from behind, pause once again, and go for the league.
Play.
You know what I'm saying?
Resume.
Jesus Christ.
But a question for you, Curry, before you answer the same question, Prime. Let's say in your hypothetical, everything happens, right? We make this run of games and we actually manage to beat this Man City team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we're in that title race. According that's your
Yep.
thresholds, right?
If we're 6 points behind and we beat Man City, yeah.
And listen, we're 1 point away from being 6 points behind.
Exactly.
It's
And
very,
they're playing
very,
Everton.
very doable.
They're playing Everton, who Everton's been shit, but they just won 4-0, and they always have
It's a derby. It's a derby. Yeah,
it's the
you never
last
know what could happen.
Everton Stadium before they move.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a big derby, so you never know what could happen. Listen, we saw what happened a few seasons ago with the Pickford injury, and like it's a derby. It's gonna be a tough game for them, despite where Everton are on the table, right? But let's say in your hypothetical, everything happens.
Yeah.
If we don't win the title,
Yep.
if we go on a title charge but don't win, are you disappointed?
Yeah.
No. What?
Yes. I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed to the extent that I'm angry. I'm disappointed that we didn't fully take advantage of an opportunity that we had. It's not an opportunity that I expected beginning of the season, but if a door is open and there's a chance and I miss out on taking that, right, I would be slightly disappointed. Not saying I would be distraught, not saying I would be angry at the team, nothing. But I would be disappointed that we missed out on an opportunity that arose out of nowhere, right? It's kind of like the Arsenal first season, when they broke up. That was their opportunity, right? No one thought they were going to be in the lead, right? They got in the lead. Everyone is blaming them now, right, for missing out on an opportunity. We have an opportunity. Just like, okay, here's another example. Spurs, the season Leicester won.
Yeah.
People keep bashing Spurs for what? Missing out on an opportunity.
I feel that's different though. If I'm set, because number one, Leicester never have done that before. Liverpool have actually got players that have won the league before, so that for me, that's a huge opportunity for Tottenham because they were the way better. They were They were like the second best team, but for me, Leicester had no right to do what they did. And if I see Liverpool ahead, I'm not going to be shocked if they win it because they've got title winners in their team already, whereas Leicester didn't have any, and I think they just about survived the season before. So for me, that was like a massive, ridiculous overachievement. And then you said it's a difficult one because if we play City, how many games do we have left?
A few.
Yeah. What game? How many games are left after the City game?
I'll check right now. Because after the City game, we're already past halfway point, right? So after the City game, we have West Ham, Brighton, Villa, Southampton, Leicester, Arsenal, Tottenham, Brentford, Ipswich, Fulham.
So
Jesus
say you can make 24.
We have 15 more games left after that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still a lot of games. So to say it's a difficult one. Like I get you say you'll be disappointed, but then I can't compare it to the Tottenham and Leicester because Leicester had no right to do that, whereas Liverpool have.
What I'm trying to ask Curry. I guess what I'm trying to ask you is like, I would be disappointed because like, damn, we were close, but we didn't get there. Like that kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Versus like a disappointed, like, fuck, dude, we were supposed to be winning this, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Okay, we have the most goals in the league. We have the third fewest goals given up. We have the best bench. Literally only one man, Salah, is the only reason it isn't obvious we aren't in contention for the league. If Salah doesn't exist, we're right there. We're a point two off.
He's not
so
wrong.
that's the reality of it. That's the reality of the truth. We don't want to accept that, but
But don't you think Alisson hasn't been playing, but if he comes back, he's world class. Van Dijk, come on, he's a massive he's definitely one of he's definitely one of the reasons. Also, obviously you got Salah, who's the attacking side of things, but I feel like they've got a good spine there. Trent, ridiculous at right back, creating all these chances. So I feel like they've got a good 4 or 5 players that. Don't get me wrong, Salah's the main guy, but they've definitely got key players that can get them over the line. Where
I mean, I don't know the number. You know, if you check the number of how many goals he's been involved in this
It's
season.
21. He's 21 GMAs.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Obviously, like that's what I said. He's a massive key, but defensively they've been solid as well. I'm sure they're.
They gave up
Are they
3.
second or first as
Newcastle.
goals conceded?
They gave up 3 at Newcastle, you know? I mean, I'm not really sold on Slot. I think he's a fraud person. You know?
What? Okay, yeah. What's your reason for that? Because he has won titles in Holland before.
What?
So
Was
they
there
are
a
to
bald man that did very well? That was from that used to run Manchester United. Remember that guy?
Yeah. No, I get where
Yeah,
you're coming from.
Okay, you're taking Ten Hag, but that's just one guy, and we can't say every bald guy from.
I don't believe
on
in
the
Slot. I don't believe. Take away Salah next year, and you'll see what the real Slot is.
You might be onto something there, man.
Yeah, he's
Where we've been saying
massive,
that
though, isn't
for
he?
like the past 3 years. Oh, Salah. He
Here's the
gets
thing:
injured.
first thing, they have a great spine. Okay, it's going to turn very much like Arsenal. If when they lost Odegaard, what did they have attacking wise? Dog shit. And what does
Saka, but Saka doesn't step up apparently without.
It's bang average.
Yeah, do you know why though?
Literally, this game against Newcastle, Salah's the only reason they drew. They were getting destroyed the entire game.
But that's because they're missing Konate. Well, not entirely because, but I mean Konate seems to be a pretty important piece of that defense. I ain't gonna lie. So
Definitely.
This is a window of opportunity, right? Like this could potentially be. Fuck, dude! I'm listening to myself and I'm talking myself into a title race now. Fuck, because I'm just saying because if they concede, if Liverpool's defense, if this is a sign of Liverpool's defense having cracks, then who knows? Maybe they do drop points against Everton. We win against Spurs. Now it's 3 points behind, or not even 4 points behind Liverpool. So on and so forth.
You don't think we're looking a little bit too far ahead? Like, I think we should just keep winning
one game at a time.
Hey, listen, man, content, but also
The reality is that what makes us strong is only going to get stronger as the season goes on.
I agree.
Those teams are going to get weaker. They're going to have injuries. They're not going to be able to handle the fatigue.
I think we'll only know how strong
Robin.
we are till we go till we lose a game.
Yeah, we need a bigger sample size, and that too.
If we lose a game and we bounce back the next game,
we can
that'll
always
let us know.
We're experts on the past, right? Obviously, But when you want to try to forecast, you have to look at our competition and what they're going to deal with. Champions League, all the games, them lacking the bench we have. If you want to forecast, that's an easy view. They're going to struggle to keep up.
I hear you.
The fact that we can match. And so.
So I was
Well,
saying
yeah, of
this
course,
last-
it's easy to look at the past, no doubt, and that's
of course.
key. But
No, but then again, it's easy to be super positive, right? It's easy to say we can do this and we can do that, whereas
Not in
we
the last
don't
2
know.
years, it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Okay.
So
Fair
that's
enough.
why you're gonna get even more drunk off the tequila.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've not experienced this before. You could just run away with it, say, "Wow, I haven't seen this in years." Like, so it can go either way. That's why I'm a bit sitting on the fence. I'm like, can they prove to me they can do this?
There's nothing wrong with sitting on the fence, but I think it's okay for Chelsea fans to have a little bit more chest than they did
No, I'm
the day
happy. I'm
before
happy for
yesterday,
Chelsea
you know what I'm
fans.
saying?
We can dream
But,
again.
I do want to ask Prime. I'm going to ask you the same question, right? If let's say we win these next run of games up until Man City, and then we actually beat Man City, I think you said then maybe we're in a title race, but let's just say that happens, right? Those hypotheticals happen, which is possible. Then would you be disappointed if we don't take advantage of that and go for the title and don't win the title? Or you'll be like, well, we're still in top 4 and I'm okay with that?
when are we playing City? The end of January, right? So the end
Pretty
of the
much.
window, basically.
Yeah.
It depends on what we do in the transfer window. I expect until we beat City to be unbeaten. The only team I think can trouble us is Brentford, possibly Everton, because maybe they're going to be on a run of form now after their win. And what happens from that Merseyside derby, I think it'll be a draw, because it's the last one at Goodison Park. I think it'll be a draw. But regardless, what if we beat City? It depends on our window. If we have a good window, we bring in, say, a top goalkeeper or a top centre back or a top, I say top striker, like a competent backup striker that offers the attributes Jackson lacks. Disappointed, yes, possibly, depending on how it actually pans out. Disappointed, but also I'll be happy because I can actually see how the major improvement these guys have made in a year and the potential that they're actually showing, particularly on certain guys that we still have question marks on. There's still question marks on, say, Caicedo, or not Caicedo, on Enzo. Can he continue this form? There's question marks we have on, say, Madueke. People still have question marks on Jackson. There's question marks on Colwell, etc. So if these guys can make that jump and take us to title challengers, regardless of whether we win it or not, I will be impressed. I will be proud in a way, and then I'll look for next season for us to go and actually win the league. But do I think, for me, I don't know how everyone else thinks, but for me, I only put myself in conversations where I actually think we can win. So do I actually think we can win this league? No. I still think, and I've been saying this even when City were losing their games, I still see it as City's league that they're going to win. Liverpool, like, if you look at Liverpool and what they're doing right now, I don't agree with the guy who said Slot is a fraud. I think Slot is a brilliant coach. But Liverpool, CP is right. Barring Salah, their attack is quite mid. When we played them, they didn't trouble us at all. We deserved that draw at Anfield. And if not for, us falling asleep 5 minutes later after we equalised, I believe that game ends in a draw. Salah has been Liverpool's difference maker in attack this season. He's been responsible, I think, for I saw a crazy stat. I think it's like 75% of their goals he's been responsible for, which is mad.
He's been a big creative outlet for them.
When Hazard's last season for us, he was responsible for 51% of our goals, and I thought that was crazy. And even though there's no AFCON this season, Liverpool fans love to use AFCON as an excuse for why Liverpool tend to fall off in title races. That's not true. The reason why they fall off is because Salah, the second half of the season, particularly in title run-ins, this guy goes ghost. He doesn't turn up. So I don't expect Liverpool to sustain this. Liverpool have never won a Premier League title race. That's something that people never talk about. Arsenal, when they were having a rough start to the season, you guys remember, I kept saying they'll be fine, they'll get their players back from injury, and they'll go on a run. Not enough to win the league, because they're not good enough to win this league, but they're good enough to at least challenge for it. If Chelsea can sustain a title challenge this season, after what we've been through the last 2 years, I think that's a major, major jump for these players. For someone like Colwell to go from being an average player from the way he was viewed last season to now being potential one of the best centre backs in the league. He can lead us in a title challenge. If Jackson can lead us in a title challenge, if Cole Palmer can lead us in a title challenge, if Maresca can lead us in a title challenge, that is a major, major victory for Chelsea. And that is a major spit in the face for all the negative Chelsea fans and all the rivals and the media who try to dance on our grave the last 2 years. So,
two on their faces.
For me, as much as I want to win, and no one takes this out of context, but as much as I want to win this, I would love to win this league, but just being in the title race and not finishing, say, third and 6 points off, I'll take that for this season. So long as next season we go and then win it. But realistically, can we sustain it? I genuinely don't know. I want to say no because I don't have any other evidence to prove to me that we can. Because I know City have shown that they can go on a run to win this league. Liverpool have shown they can go on a run to challenge. Arsenal have shown they can go on a run to challenge. We have no evidence yet. So.
Prime staying humble. That's fine.
It's not even being humble. It's just being like.
No, you are. No, it
realistic.
is being humble. It's being realistic. It's being humble.
Yeah.
Real quick though, like I said, I do need to close it out.
Sorry, can I just finish off and say this?
Just finish off, please.
Yeah, the fact that we are. I like the fact that Chelsea fans are being a bit cautious because in previous seasons we've started off well. Chelsea fans have got gassed and put us into title challenging conversations, and then we've had a bad November or December and fallen apart. Do you know I think November that just gone was the first time we've gone unbeaten in that month in like 2 or 3 seasons. So yeah, if we can actually do this year, I'm not even saying win the league, but if we can actually go machine for machine with these guys, like, listen, this project, a lot of people need to make apologies, man. A lot of people need to make apologies.
No, I agree. Listen, I don't have any more time to go back and forth with Camille here because I vehemently disagree. I think Jackson can help us win the league. He's doing better than this Isak guy that you named. And listen, I can't speak for Victor. He's also in a different league, so the time will tell with that. But
also, Jackson shouldn't be the guy we need to rely
Prime,
on.
I just want to wrap it up, Prime, please. So that being said, ladies and gents, we're gonna wrap it up. There was supposed to be a raid message, but it's not working for whatever reason. So just we're gonna raid out to United Spurs of America. Oh, there it is. Be sure to let him know where you're coming from. He has an emergency going on right now because maybe he's Ange out. I doubt he's Ange out. But let him know where you're coming from. I think we had a good discussion today for sure. And one thing I do want to point out is that I think if there is a time to go in a title run, I think now would be a good time to do it. Whether this team can do it is to be seen. I think they're capable of doing it. I think we're closer to doing it now than we've been in a very long time. Very, very long time. And considering how far off we are, considering what could potentially happen to Liverpool now that Konate's been hurt, if they drop some points, which they already have against a Newcastle team, conceding 3, which is a big deficit for them considering they've been the best side in terms of clean sheets and defensive numbers. So maybe that continues on to Everton. Maybe we're talking 4 points next game. But it is something to take advantage of, ladies and gents. This is the season where Man City's dropped off, and Chelsea can see it as an opportunity to go for the title. Why not? We're almost there. We're close. We're close. And listen, end of December, next month really, we'll have a call-in show. And we'll see my verdict. If I'm saying we're in a title run, if any more of us on the panel say we're on a title run, because that'll be for me the tough run of games. This really congested fixture. But time will tell. I think we had a lot of perspectives today. I think we had a very good discussion. And big up to everyone that joined today. Big up to all of you in the chat. If you haven't smashed the like button already, please do so. Be sure to also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, because it helps the community grow. It helps these call-in shows bring in more people, more faces, more perspectives, and more voices for Chelsea. And even some rivals. Who knows? We'll see what happens in time as we grow the community. But big up to every single one of you. If you are a member, be sure to if you are a member, you get shout outs at the end of every show. If you are a proper casual and higher tier member, that's going to go out to our boys at TMZ127, EE, Hassan Nawaz, Dark, Adrian, Ace Soliman, Scott, Josh CFC, M3, Iwani, Gabriel, and Banana. Big up to you guys for your constant support, and big up to everyone else who is also in here for their constant support. Like I said, we're going to raid out to United Spurs of America, Jacob. Don't know if he's having a meltdown. Don't know if he's talking about how sharks die if they don't move or something. He's always talking about something random, and I think it's hilarious. So you'll see him Saturday here on the channel because we will be doing a preview for the Spurs Chelsea game. So stay tuned for more content here on Casually FC. We'll be back on Saturday to talk about the game, and then Sunday we'll be back talking about the result of the game, and hopefully should be another W for Chelsea. Big up Enzo Maresca, big up the panel, big up Casually FC and everyone here. Have a good night, and as always, stay casual.